"Where are you guys on this business trip?" Lu Danny asked while unstitching her gloves. The gloves she took apart were the labor protection gloves issued by the factory, woven with cotton thread. She got 2 pairs every month, which she used sparingly. In a year, she could save more than 10 pairs of gloves. She took apart the cotton thread, boiled it in boiling water, and then dyed it and used it to knit sweaters. Cotton gloves can be knitted sweaters. Yongcheng, this is the snack over there. Ruan Chichi took out a big bag of wife cakes from her bag and distributed them to them and the children one by one. Xia Tao ate in silence, without even raising her head. "Auntie Xia, this is the candy I saved for you." "Aunt Ruan, why hasn't Brother Potato come back?" The children all miss Little Potato very much, mainly because they had saved up a lot of programs and had to perform them for Little Potato. "I'll be back tomorrow." Ruan Chichi smiled and said that she had to work tonight, so she decided to pick up Zai Zai tomorrow. Anyway, Tudo is weaned and the little guy has grown some teeth, so he can eat complimentary food and milk powder. Man Zai and Mama Jiang take very good care of the little guy. With his sisters-in-law for a while, Lu Yi came back, looking unhappy. After returning home, Lu Yi angrily said, "Director Mu was sent to the Armed Forces Department. The new Director Ma is even more annoying than Mo Huli. I really want to kill him." Fortunately, he has improved, otherwise, with his previous temper, he would have beaten Director Ma to death long ago. Ruan Chichi comforted him, and as it was late at night, the 3 of them went out. As soon as I walked downstairs to the family building, I met Ding Yi, Xiao Chao, and Zheng Ji and smiled at them. Xiao Chao drove over, and they went to Director Yang's residence first. Coincidentally, it was Shi Jinghong's former residence. Shi Jinghong's family had all died, so the house was vacant and was assigned to Director Yang. The house had been completely looted by Lu Yi before. Even the stair railings had been removed. Now, everything has been restored, and a lot of new furniture has been added. The 2 people from the headquarters, a man and a woman, lived on the 1st floor, and Director Yang lived on the 2nd floor. "I'll set a fire and lure them out," Xiao Chao said excitedly. He had waited for this day for a long time, and finally it came. "Use this." Xia Tao went to the garden, pulled out a lot of dead grass, watered it, and went to set fire with Xiao Chao. Soon, the room was filled with thick smoke, the kind that could choke people to death. Xia Tao and Xiao Chao covered their mouths and noses and fled in panic, their eyes red from the smoke. "Stop!" After a loud shout, a flash of lightning shot over and hit Xia Tao. In an instant, she felt like she was having a seizure. Her hands and feet were twisted into knots, and her hair turned into curls. The 3rd update is finished. Good night. When Xiao Chao heard the shout, he wanted to go back to save people, but when he saw Xia Tao's miserable condition, he accelerated decisively and ran away. Duck, who felt refreshed by the electric shock, screamed loudly, not knowing whether she wanted to duck Xiao Chao or the generator behind her. "What are you doing here in secret? Darn you, is that you?" The generator chased out and saw Comrade Xiao Chao's back as he rode away. He recognized him as the traitor from Group B, sneered, and shot a beam of electricity at Xiao Chao's back. "Shows up at your door in the middle of the night, he is thief. You can escape the death penalty, but you can't escape the living punishment." "Hold." Comrade Xiao Chao's screams could be heard from afar. His whole body was almost twisted into a dough stick, and wisps of green smoke were coming out of it. He was almost cooked. The generator smiled triumphantly and wanted to generate more electricity. Several branches stretched out and suspended it. Lu Yi quickly fetched a bucket of water and poured it on Comrade Xiao Chao's head. "Duck. You. Ma." Comrade Xiao Chao's screams continued. Green smoke billowed out of his body, and his skin, which was originally black from the electric shock, suddenly turned deep red, like a cooked shrimp that could not be more cooked. Lu Yi was dumbfounded. He originally wanted to cool down this kid by pouring cold water on him, but he never expected that the bucket of water would boil him. Ding Yi rushed over and saw this scene. He couldn't help but swear. "Bury it in the soil quickly." Ding Yi shouted, and Zheng Ji and Lu Yi started digging immediately. Although they had no tools, they still dug a deep pit quickly. They pushed the still smoking Xiao Chao into the pit and buried him alive, with only his head sticking out. He won't die, will he? Zhang Ji asked cautiously. Still breathing. Lu Yi bent down and felt Comrade Xiao Chao's breath. It was burning hot, like steam. It burned him so much that he quickly retracted his hand, feeling very nervous. It's okay, it's a short circuit, just breathe in some earth energy. Dingy spoke in a relaxed tone, not too worried. Because Xiao Chao had had a similar accident before. At that time, the guy had just arrived at 759 not long ago and was still a young man. According to the rules of 759, newcomers have to be led by old employees when going on missions. He was in charge of this kid. During one mission, the kid accidentally bumped into an electric wire. Although he kicked him away in time, he was still electrocuted and sparks were flying. The situation was similar to now. At that time, Ding Yi's reaction was similar to Lu Ye's. They both felt that water was needed to cool him down. As a result, when a basin of water was poured on Xiao Chao, he was almost cooked. Fortunately, he was buried in a pit and came back to life. Later he found out that Xiao Chao had fire-related abilities and his body structure was different from that of ordinary people. After being electrocuted, his body's reaction was even greater, so he must not be splashed with water, otherwise it would cause a short circuit. Once this happens, he must be buried in the soil in time so that the Earth's energy can absorb the restless energy in his body.
Duck you.
Mother! Xia Tao's curse came over. She had already recovered, pulled out the soft knife at her waist, and chopped at the generator, hanging in the air. Don't kill him. Ruan Chichi reminded him that he was just a competitor, and it would be enough to teach him a lesson. There was no need to kill him. The hanging man sneered, preparing to generate electricity again, but as soon as he stretched out his hand, it was entangled by the branches, like a spider web, tightly entangled without any gaps, leaving only his two nostrils for breathing. You like electricity so much. Why don't you go to a power plant to generate electricity? Xia Tao pointed the tip of the knife at the man's vital parts and taunted him arrogantly. That is to say, she hasn't looked in the mirror yet, otherwise, seeing her current appearance, she would definitely not be as calm as she is now. Her long straight black hair turned into free-flowing woolly curls, and her fair skin was electrocuted to become extremely black, darker than that of real Africans. Wan Chichi could only identify her location by her big, white teeth. Are you trying to rebel? This is Director Yang's home. You, as members of 759, actually broke into the leader's home in the middle of the night and acted lawless. Do you all want to go to jail? The generator man scolded righteously. He used to work in the capital and was sent to Tanzhou to assist Director Yang in his work, mainly to protect Director Yang's safety. At that time, he felt that the higher-ups were worrying too much. Even if the people from a local branch in Tanzhou were brave enough, they would not dare to take action against the imperial envoy sent by their higher-ups. Now he realized that he was too naive. These people were indeed so bold and arrogant that they did not take Director Yang seriously at all. What Director Yang, Director Niu? I only recognize Director Pei. Go back to where you came from. If you don't leave, I will come and set fire to you every day. Xia Tao snorted coldly and asked Ruan Chichi to loosen the branches, revealing the man's head. She danced with the knife, and with a flash of knife light, the man's thick black hair instantly flew in the night sky, turning into a shiny bald head. Loosen up a little more. Xia Tao pointed downwards with the tip of the knife, and Ruan Chichi cooperated by loosening the branches, but the man's upper body was wrapped tightly around her, leaving him no chance to discharge his electricity. Whoa! The man finally panicked and wanted to call his companions for help, but his mouth was strangled so tightly by the branches that he could not utter a complete sound. He could only watch Xia Tao cut his pants open in no time, and then a cool wind blew in. Whoa! The man was panicked and scared. He couldn't see his lower body and didn't know if his brother was still there. It felt like he was gone. What are you afraid of? Your useless brother is still here. TSK. Why are they all little earthworms? Have you married your concubine? It's better not to marry her. Even if you do, you will still be cuckolded. Xia Tao looked at it with disdain. her hands itching as she wanted to cut it again, but shaving the hair didn't make her feel better. Don't even think about it. Wan Qiqi warned her that after all, they were sent by higher-ups, and if things got out of hand it would be difficult to resolve, and she didn't want to create a rift with them. Xia Tao pursed her lips, kicked the ashamed man, and kindly reminded him, "Go back and eat more sea cucumbers. They are better than earthworms." "Whoa!" the man yelled angrily. Although I couldn't hear him clearly, I could feel that he was swearing very dirty. "You don't know what's good for you. You deserve to be called a little earthworm." Xia Tao snorted coldly, ignored him, and prepared to go into the house with a knife to settle the score with Director Yang. "Wait, there's a woman who can control the wind." Wan Qiqi reminded that the woman had not shown up and must be hiding in the dark. "Can she create a 12-level typhoon? It's just a breeze in March at most. I'm not afraid of it." "Shoot." Xia Tao didn't take it seriously at all and walked into the house with a swagger. But before she could finish her words, she was blown up by a gust of wind and flew upwards like a kite with a broken string.
Pop sound.
Xia Tao hit the ceiling heavily. Before she could catch her breath, the wind stopped and she began to fall vertically. Fortunately, she reacted quickly and stabbed the knife in her hand downwards, with the tip of the knife against the floor. She used the force to float out of the house and cleverly hid behind Wan Qiqi. "Gun. My bones are about to break. I leave it to you." Xia Tao gasped in pain. Darn it, she had never suffered such injustice before. This pair of dogs were targeting her alone. She would not serve them anymore. If it were in the past, Xia Tao would definitely fight to the death with these two people, but now she doesn't want to do that anymore. Because that big fool Gondefa said that if you can't win, just run away. A head-on confrontation is a very stupid behavior and not cost-effective. Feng Wu is a woman in her 30s. She looks at people with a condescending look. Just like that generator, she is filled with a strong sense of superiority. "Get out. I can pretend you were never here," Feng Wu warned in a cold voice. Even though she was at a disadvantage, she still acted high and mighty and put on airs.
"Who are you?"
"Why should I listen to you?" Xia Tao poked her head out from behind Wan Qiqi, arrogantly and provocatively. "You are that little devil? Humph, you are indeed not of our kind. You even dare to recruit little devils. Pei Yuan is so bold." Feng Wu looked at Xia Tao with murderous eyes. What she hated the most were the Japanese devils. At least hundreds of them died at her hands, and each of them died miserably. "Duck your mother. You actually called me a devil. If you have the guts, don't use your superpowers. I'm going to fight you in a one-on-one duel." Xia Tao jumped up in anger, and the wool curls on her head became more and more messy. What she hated most were the Japanese devils and the blood flowing in her body. Every word uttered by this sitch was a provocation to her murderous intent. "Don't try to persuade me. I'm going to kill this sitch today." Xia Tao rushed over with a knife in hand. Feng Wu snorted with disdain and prepared to gather strength to control the wind. The generator, hanging in the air, whined anxiously. He and Feng Wu were old partners, and he knew at a glance that this woman was up to something big. Although these people are extremely rebellious, they are part of Group 759 after all. This is an internal conflict, and we cannot treat them so harshly. But he couldn't make a sound. He struggled desperately, but it was no use. The branches wrapped around him more tightly than the tree itself. Feng Wu smiled coldly, and the look she gave Xia Tao was as if she was looking at a dead person. Wan Qiqi secretly thought that this was not good. This woman was definitely going to use a killing move. She suddenly had an idea, and when the wind started, she summoned branches to hang Xia Tao up, just in time to avoid the strong wind driven by Feng Wu. Feng Wu changed the direction of her palm, trying to kill Xia Tao. A figure flew over as fast as lightning and ran to Feng Wu's side. It was Ding Yi, who was still carrying Zheng Ji. Zheng Ji was very strong, and he turned Feng Wu's body to face the inside of the house. At the same time, Comrade Xiao Chao, who had recovered, also arrived. Amidst the strong wind, he shot out one flame after another. In fact, they completed all this in just a few seconds. Feng Wu had no time to react at all. She watched helplessly as the strong wind she had driven out blew the flames into the house. The flames grew rapidly in the wind, and soon a raging fire broke out in the house. Director Yang is still in there. You are simply lawless. Feng Wu screamed in panic, saying that if something happened to Director Yang, she would definitely be punished when she returned to Beijing. You set the fire. What does it have to do with us? Wan Qiqi crossed her arms calmly, not panicking at all. That's right, you've been holding a grudge against Director Yang for a long time and you finally took action. TSK, you're more vicious than the Japanese. Xia Tao sneered with glee, saying that she would remember the Zich calling her a Japanese devil for the rest of her life. Why don't you put out the fire? If something happens to Director Yang, none of you will be able to escape. Feng Wu ran to find water. Her special powers were useless in putting out the fire, so she could only use brute force.
You don't ask for help like this.
Can you be humble? Are you just waiting for your Director Yang to burn to death? Wan Qiqi would not indulge her. Anyway, Director Yang would not be burned to death in a short time. Please put out the fire. Feng Wu gritted her teeth and lowered her attitude a little, but her reluctance was obvious. I can't hear it.
Did you hear it?
Xia Tao covered her ears with her hands and asked Wan Qiqi exaggeratedly. I didn't hear it. It seems that she really hates Director Yang and wishes he would die. Let us go. Wan Qiqi turned around and left without any hesitation. Xia Tao and the others also followed and really didn't care about the fire anymore. Please put out the fire. It was my fault just now. I apologize to you. Feng Wu yelled particularly loudly, and this time her attitude was truly humble. It should have been done earlier. Wan Qiqi turned back and winked at Lu Yi. Lu Yi nodded and gathered strength silently. After a while, the water in the pool in the garden rushed towards the house. The water seemed to have consciousness and flowed towards the burning place. Wherever the water flowed, the fire was extinguished. In just a few minutes, the fire in the house was out, with billowing blue smoke. The house was in a mess, and the newly bought furniture was burnt black and looked terrible. Feng Wu rushed into the house quickly and searched upstairs and downstairs, but couldn't find Director Yang.
Here. Come quickly.
A weak cry was heard from the garden behind the house. It was Director Yang who had escaped by jumping out of the window. He broke one of his legs and lay on the cold ground, feeling cold and in pain, half dead. Feng Wu helped the man up, and Director Yang asked angrily, who set the fire? He thought coming to Tanzhou was a lucrative job, more than $10 million. Even if he could only get 10%, it would be over $1 million, enough for him to live a luxurious life. He went to great lengths to grab this lucrative position, but after only 1 month in office, he hadn't seen a single dollar and was almost dead. Wan Qiqi and Kikunochio, as well as Chao Yuqi and Ding Yi. I don't know the other two people. Feng Wu answered truthfully. The Japanese are really unreliable. Pei Yuan, this idiot, dug his own grave. I'm going to call the higher-ups right now and report him.
Director Yang sneered.
Pei Yuan wanted to drive him away, but he would not be fooled. No matter how capable these people were, they would not dare to kill them. And that Wan Qiqi must have earned a lot of foreign exchange after being in Hong Kong for so long, and he must hand it over in full. He asked Feng Wu to support him as he limped to make a phone call, but the phone was broken, and there was no place to sit in the living room. How can this be possible? These people are so bold and lawless. Pei Yuan is the one who condones them. Director Yang was so angry that he started cursing. He felt like a fire burning in his heart, making him feel extremely uncomfortable. His broken leg was hurting more and more, and he was worried that he would become lame. So he asked Feng Wu to take him to the hospital. Wait a minute, I'll go put Huaishan down. Feng Wu wanted to rescue her companion who was still hanging on the tree, but Director Yang said impatiently, go to the hospital first. The higher-ups also said that these two men were very skilled, but humph, they looked just SOSO to him. They couldn't even beat the people from the Tanzhou branch, and they almost burned him to death. He immediately called their higher-ups to replace them. Feng Wu frowned but said nothing. On her first day at work, She was trained to obey her leader's instructions without any principles and not to disobey. This has become a habit over the years. Hanging on the tree heard Director Yang's words clearly, and his heart was colder than his naked butt. After Feng Wu and Director Yang left, Xia Tao appeared like a ghost and said maliciously, "You have been abandoned by your leaders and companions. How pitiful!" The man glared at her angrily, but his heart was bitter and astringent, and he regretted coming to Tanzhou. "Are you cold? Don't worry, I'll bring you warmth right away." Xia Tao smiled wickedly, and the man's scalp went numb. He soon felt the burning sensation on his body, and his skin was almost roasted. Xiao Chao lit several balls of fire on him, and the branches that tied him shrank when they encountered the fire. The man fell heavily to the ground, and his clothes and hair were burned clean in an instant, leaving him smoother than a plucked chicken. Next, they went to the residence of Director Ma from Group A. This guy also had guards around him, but they were all defeated by them. He was also burned like a plucked chicken by Comrade Xiao Chao. In addition, Lu Yi also set a time for the water in their bodies. Every morning, noon, and evening, the water in their bodies would go on strike, and the urine in their bodies would leak out uncontrollably. Went to the hospital. Certainly did not escape. Lu Yi chased him and set a time for him, and then they went back home to sleep. Ruan Chichi brought back more than $2 million this time, mainly from the box office revenue of the movies made by Chen Xiong and Scar Lu. The movies they co-produced were very popular. The two former underworld bosses actually teamed up to make a love movie. Although the image is a bit eye-catching, it is quite exciting. Citizens of Hong Kong would go to the cinema to catch a glimpse of the two big guys, even if they didn't eat, and they would watch it once, twice, and 3 times and never get tired of it. The box office jumped to #1 and sold at high prices overseas, making huge profits every day, and Ruan Chichi got a lot of the money. She had been planning to hand over the money from the beginning, and she didn't want a penny. She originally wanted to let Emo Jinsong handle it, but the procedures on Emo Huli's side were a bit troublesome, so it would be more convenient for her to bring it back herself. She definitely couldn't give this money to Director Yang, so she kept it in her hands for the time being. She let the two directors Yang and Ma go for the time being. Lu Ye's incontinence 3 times a day was enough for them to bear. Since Pei Yuan was not there, she was too lazy to report to 759 and rested at home for a few days. Lu Yi had to go to work in the army, so Ruan Chichi went to Lu's house to pick up her son. As soon as I entered the yard, Mama Jiang ran out to greet me, shaking her head. The little baby was lying in the cradle basking in the sun, and Manzai was sitting beside him, watching and rocking the cradle from time to time. "Asleep?" Ruan Chichi asked in a low voice. "Just went to bed." Manzai nodded with a kind smile on his face. Ruan Chichi walked over and gently touched the little guy's face. The little guy seemed to feel it and stretched out his chubby hand to hold her hand. He was very strong and held her hand until they fell asleep. "Mom is busy, be good." Ruan Chichi smiled and whispered something in the little guy's ear. Sure enough, the little guy let go of his hand, but his eyes were still closed. "So good." Ruan Chichi praised him and went into the house to look for the two elders. Guan Jihua was steaming egg cakes in the kitchen. After a while, Little Potato woke up and wanted to eat. Grandpa Lu sat by the window to bask in the sun. "Chichi is here, come and sit down." Mr. Lu smiled kindly. Guan Jihua handed the kitchen to Aunt Li and came out to greet the guests. "Thank you for your hard work last night. I'm here to pick up the potatoes," Ruan Chichi said with a smile. "It's not hard at all. Potato is very easy to take care of. If you and Xiaoye are busy, just leave the baby here." Guan Jihua was reluctant to let go, so late last night, she secretly took the baby from Manzi's bed and brought him to her bed to sleep. Oh, the baby was so soft and still smelled sweet, and she was happy just looking at him. Moreover, Little Potato sleeps very soundly. He only eats 1 meal and urinates once at night, and then sleeps until dawn. Adults don't have to worry about him at all. It will disturb you. Potato is so well behaved. He doesn't make any noise at all. He is the best behaved baby in the world. When talking about baby Potato, Guan Jihua's face is full of love. She really treats Potato as her own grandson because the little guy is so cute and lovable. Wan Chi-Chi burst out laughing. Her baby was so adorable and no one could resist the charm of little Potato. It was indeed her child, perfectly inheriting her genes for being loved by everyone. She also saw that the two elders were reluctant to let the baby go, but she still wanted to take the baby away because she missed him too. However, she promised to send the baby over in a few days, and Guan Jihua was happy. The phone rang. It was Mr. Lu. Mr. Lu's expression gradually became serious, and he asked, "Is there any evidence?" They were brought here by Comrade Ma and Comrade Yang, so they naturally listened to Comrade Ma and Comrade Yang. Their words have no validity as evidence. As for Comrade Ma and Comrade Yang's leakage of urine, isn't it because of their kidney deficiency? Mr. Lu changed his usual easygoing attitude and spoke in a very serious tone. As soon as Wan Chi-Chi heard it, she knew that the person was here to complain. She smiled nonchalantly and eavesdropped on the phone call openly. Guan Jihua glanced at her, smiled, and went back to the kitchen to steam the egg cake. I have long reminded you that Comrade Pei and Comrade Mu have done a very good job and have managed the Tanzhou branch in an orderly manner. You have seen their work performance over the years. Humph, they transferred 2 talented people away for no reason and sent 2 people who have no idea about the situation in Tanzhou to manage it. It would be strange if they could manage it well. I'm retired now, and I won't get involved in work anymore. It's no use for you to come to an old man like me. Since you have a suspect, you can take out the evidence and go to the relevant department to handle it. What's the point of coming to me? Mr. Lu was too lazy to talk anymore and hung up the phone. What a mess. Mr. Lu cursed angrily, and Guan Jihua came out of the kitchen and comforted him. You are retired now. Don't worry about these troubles anymore. Out of sight, out of mind. They have made 759 ms. Everyone wants to make money, not do anything. Tanzhou is a little better, but now it is also being polluted by them. Old Master Lu sighed deeply, feeling powerless inside. He saw the crux of the problem, but he was powerless to change it, alas. Don't think about it. Where there are people, there are right and wrong. Thousands of years of history have already proved that the Pure Land does not exist. If those people call you again in the future, you will know nothing about it. Don't argue with them. Guan Jihua advised gently. She saw things more clearly than the old man. At that time, the old man was reluctant to leave the capital and wanted to realize his ambitions. She persuaded him for a long time before he agreed to come back and stay away from the troubled times. The 2 elders never asked Wan Chi-Chi from beginning to end whether what happened last night had anything to do with her. After Little Potato woke up, he ate a bowl of tender steamed egg cake and then went home with his mother, feeling satisfied. Manzai and Mama Zhang stood at the gate of the yard reluctantly, especially Mama Zhang, who was extremely conflicted. She wanted to follow Manzai, but couldn't bear to leave her master. The dog acted out the sadness of separation between life and death. Mother. Wan Chi-Chi's arm suddenly called out, Mom, but the little baby was facing Manzi and the others. Baby, can you call me again? Wan Chi-Chi was so happy that she wanted to hear her baby call her mother again. Mother. Zai Zai cried again, but was still facing Manzai and the others. Wan Chi-Chi then realized that something was wrong. Could it be that the little Zai Zai thought Manzai was his mother? She held the baby in her arms and walked towards Manzai and the others. Potato Baby waved his chubby hands happily, looked at Mama Zhang, and called out clearly, Mom.
Mom.
Mom. Mama Zhang was so moved that her eyes were filled with tears. She was so anxious that she almost spoke human language. She jumped up and wanted to kiss her cub. Wan Chi-Chi was silent, his face a little dark. She can't even compete with a dog. Where is justice? Baby, it's Mama Zhang. I'm the mother. Call me mother. Wan Chi-Chi patiently corrected him, saying that Zai Zai had called the wrong mother, and it was okay, as long as he changed it.
Mom.
Mom. The little cub waved his hands happily, jumped up and down in her arms, and still called out to Mama.
Oh.
Mama. Chan was so touched that she hummed, and her tail wagged like a phantom. I am the mother, you little jerk. look at me, and scream. Wan Chi corrected him while gritting her teeth. The little cub opened his big clear eyes, looked at her innocently, and suddenly called out, "Mom." Wan Chi blinked, and in an instant, it was like spring, flowers blooming, fireworks glittering, a myriad of colors. The third update is done. I've been thinking about a new book recently. I've had a lot of white hairs growing out of my head. I'll try to get it out next month.
Good night. Why?
Wan Chi responded loudly and excitedly. Call me again, kid. Potato Baby blinked his eyes and called out obediently, Mom.
Hey.
My baby is really the smartest in the world. He calls so well. Baby, call again. Wan Chi was so happy that she couldn't close her mouth. The cry of her baby was more beautiful than the sound of nature, and she never got tired of listening to it. Mother, the little cub called out again, but the sound was obviously not as pleasant as the previous two. The little guy yawned, his big eyes flashing with tears. He was tired and wanted to sleep. Hey, Wan Chi's voice in reply became louder and louder, and she hadn't heard enough. So, cub, call again. She responded with a bigger yawn, and the baby's big eyes were misty. Guan Jihua, who was standing beside her, felt so distressed that she said angrily, How can you keep calling? The baby is sleepy.
Woof.
Mama Jiang barked in dissatisfaction. Her cub was almost exhausted. He was really ignorant. Wan Chi raised her head and was faced with 5 pairs of dissatisfied eyes, Manzai, the 2 elders, Aunt Li, and Mama Jiang. She quickly said, I am the biological mother, my biological mother. I'm not a stepmother. Is it necessary to be like this? Hurry home. The kids are tired. Guan Jihua urged with a smile, saying that it would be uncomfortable to sleep with the baby in arms like this. Potato, say goodbye. Wan Chi picked up Zai Zai's fat paw, waved it at Manzai and his family, then walked away slowly with the baby in her arms. This girl is still like a child herself. Guan Jihua smiled and shook her head. She didn't look like a mother at all. Chi seems to be playing around, but he is actually very sensible. Don't worry, Grandpa Lu said with a smile. In the past, Lu Yi was crazy and never considered the consequences when he made a scene. Since being with Wan Chi, this girl has become more and more stable, which shows that Chi is a good medicine for Lu Yi. That's right. Chi and Xiaoya are both good kids. Don't meddle in their business. Humph. They come to you like bloodsuckers when they see benefits, and now they are looking for you to seek justice after suffering losses. You've spoiled them. Guan Jihua looked cold. She and her husband were considered the veterans of 759. When Pei Yuan and Director Mu were around, they would always seek their opinions when encountering major issues and were very respectful in their words. New arrivals have only been here for a month, and they just said hello over the phone. Their attitudes were particularly arrogant. Maybe they thought she and her husband had retired and were no longer useful? I don't care, and I don't have the ability to care. The situation is very complicated right now, so I'll have peace if I stay out of other people's business. Mr. Lu sighed and felt very unhappy. That's good to know. Stop being in a daze and go, and win the yarn for me. Guan Jihua knew what her husband was worried about, so she assigned him some work to distract him. Should you knit it for me? Isn't the color a little too light? Grandpa Lu sat on the sofa, holding a piece of light yellow wool in his hands, while Guan Jihua rolled the wool into a ball for easier knitting. The weather is getting warmer. Knit a vest for Potato. Pay attention and don't be distracted. Guan Jihua was winding the wool skillfully. Now that she was in good health, she had regained her former smartness and capability. You only have potatoes in your mind now. Manzi and I have to stand aside. Mr. Lu made a joke. Hello, baby. In the bathroom, stuck his head out and answered. Jiang, who was dozing off under the sofa, also raised her head and barked to show her agreement. Guan Jihua smiled with curved eyebrows and said angrily, Manzi is more sensible than you. You are so old, but you are still jealous of the little ones. Grandpa Lu was also happy. The whole family was having a great time, and the atmosphere was very good. Wan Chi took a few steps and then changed hands. The baby was getting heavier and heavier, and it was difficult to hold him. In front of us was the Liu family, and from a distance we could hear Liu Dishing's loud voice. Now that you've found a date, why don't you bring her back to see? What does that girl do?
How old is she?
Where is she from? Yuan Qiqi had already passed the Liu family, but after hearing this, she turned back and stood at the door to listen openly. 3 years older than you? That's great. A girl 3 years older than you is a treasure. Is that girl your instructor? Are you sure she's your girlfriend? Does that girl have bad eyesight? Liu Dishing's tone was clearly full of doubt. A girl who could be an instructor in a military academy and was still so young was definitely the best of the best. How could such an outstanding girl fall in love with his own stupid son? Are you blind? Dad, are you speaking human language? What's wrong with me? I've even won 2 second-class merit awards. Liu Jiefeng on the phone was almost furious. Although his girlfriend was indeed very outstanding, he wasn't that bad, right? Ask your girlfriend how many times she has won first-class merits? Liu Dishing snorted coldly. A girl who could be an instructor must be top-notch in ability. She is a civilian, working in radio. She is training us in radio at school. Dad, can you listen to her and do everything she says? Liu Jiefeng yelled at the top of his voice. He had said it at the beginning, but the old man didn't listen at all. That's even worse. She's a cultured person. How could she be interested in a rough guy like you? You couldn't even get 60 points in school. Liu Dishing directly poured a large bucket of ice water. He now even suspected that it was probably his silly son who was being too sentimental, and the girl had no such intention at all. Anyway, I'm dating her. I'll bring her back to you next week. Liu Jiefeng was very proud. He was actually a very outstanding person. It's just that he was trapped in Tanzhou and Jiangqing before, just like a dragon trapped in shallow water or a tiger in plain water, and he couldn't display his talents. After going to the frontier, his talents grew like sesame seeds, growing higher and higher every day. That's great. What's the girl's name? Where is she from? Liu Dishing was still very happy. He would wait until next week to see for himself, and then he would know whether his silly son was just being wishful thinking. If he could really marry such an outstanding daughter-in-law, it would be a great honor for the Liu family. The eldest daughter-in-law is of course also very outstanding, but it's a pity that the eldest son is a live-in son-in-law and is no longer a member of the Liu family. He still hasn't dared to tell the ancestors of the Liu family for fear that they would come into his dreams and scold him at night. I'm from Jiangqing. My name is Bai Ying.
Surname be?
Could her father be Bai Laoshu? Liu Dishing blurted out. Don't say this in front of Bai Ying. She will be angry. Liu Jiefeng reminded him that he had accidentally mentioned this before, and Bai Ying ignored him for a month and was very angry. Don't say anything. Ha ha ha. I've heard that Mr. Bai has a very capable daughter. I didn't expect you to be the one who won her over. Well done. Ha ha ha. Liu Dishing's laughter became louder and louder, and could be heard 10 miles away. Yuan Qiqi covered the baby's ears with her hands and listened with great interest. Liu Jiefeng is dating a very outstanding girl. His father and Liu Dishing are acquaintances. The name Bai Laoshu is quite interesting. Liu Dishing hung up the phone and sang in a loud voice, "Chop the devil's heads with your swords." Dad, have you found her boyfriend yet? Yuan Qiqi interrupted his hoarse voice. If the old man continued singing, Potato would be woken up. Yes, Potato is asleep. Seeing his grandson, Liu Dishing's smile deepened. He tiptoed over, touched the little paw of the baby, and said with satisfaction, "Potato has grown a lot stronger. Potato can call his mother now." He called her several times just now. Yuan Qiqi showed off proudly, and Liu Dishing was visibly envious. He also wanted to hear his grandson call him Grandpa. Don't worry, I'll teach you slowly, and Potato will definitely call me Grandpa soon. Yuan Qiqi coaxed him, and Liu Dishing was so coaxed that he smiled happily. He took out a handful of money from his pocket and forcefully stuffed it into his pocket, saying domineeringly, "Buy delicious food for 2 dough. It must be nutritious. No one can let his grandson starve."
Thank you, Dad.
Will Jiefeng bring his partner back next week? Yuan Qiqi accepted the money without hesitation. It was a kind gesture from the old man, so it would be bad to refuse it. Yes, you and Xiaoye can come too, so that the whole family can meet each other. Lu Dishing said with a smile. I just listened at the door for a while. That girl is quite good. How did Jiefeng get to know her? Wan Qiqi was really curious. To be able to train cadets in a military academy, one must be an extraordinary person. Moreover, this girl came from a good family. Why did she choose the simple-minded Lu Jiefeng? I don't know. I'm just afraid that this kid is just being overly sentimental. When he comes back next week, you can help take a look. Lu Dishing was also a little worried, fearing that his silly son was in love with her. Wan Qiqi readily agreed, and returned home happily with Lu Dishing's money. In the evening, she cooked a table full of dishes and steamed a bowl of mashed potatoes for the little guy with some broth, which the little guy loved very much. Baby, call me mother. Dinner, Wan Qiqi wanted to show off. She scooped a full spoonful of mashed potatoes and put it near Zizi's mouth to tempt him to call for help.
Mom. Ah.
Sitting in the stroller stood up anxiously, opened his mouth wide, and seemed to wish he could swallow the spoon. Had picked up a piece of meat and was about to put it into his mouth, was stunned for a moment. He didn't even bother to eat the meat, but squatted down and said excitedly, Baby, call me daddy. The kid who got the mashed potatoes didn't even look at his father and just concentrated on eating. You have to hook him with this. Wan Qiqi taught him and scooped a large spoonful of mashed potatoes to charm him. Really, Dad? The cub called out clearly, his mouth wide open like a bird waiting to be fed.
Why?
Lu Yi was so excited that tears were about to come out of his eyes. He fed a big spoonful of mashed potatoes to his son. Seeing the little boy puffing up his cheeks and eating hard, he felt so satisfied, happy and relieved. There used to be a huge hole in his heart that could never be filled no matter how much he ate. But after being with Qiqi, that hole would fill a little bit every day and become smaller and smaller. But there was still a little bit of emptiness until he heard the baby call, Dad. His emptiness was finally filled completely, being particularly fulfilled and happy. Seeing Lu Yi with tears streaming down his face, Wan Qiqi handed him the bowl and asked him to feed the baby. So,
Dad. Why?
By calling Dad, Zizi can eat his favorite mashed potatoes, and Lu Yi can gain a sense of fulfillment and joy, and both father and son are very satisfied. After feeding him a bowl of mashed potatoes and even shooting off the edges, the little one opened his mouth wide, cried, ah, and wanted to eat more. Qiqi, the baby is not full. Lu Yi didn't hear enough. He wanted to feed him 3 more bowls. Don't eat too much at one meal. Eat small and frequent meals. Pick up the baby and pat him. Wan Qiqi took his empty bowl. Lu Yi picked up the baby and patted his back skillfully. Not long after, the baby burped loudly. The full baby felt sleepy again, so Lu Yi took off his cotton-padded jacket, put him on the crib, and covered him with a quilt. After the baby fell asleep, he gently kissed the little guy's chubby face before coming back to eat. Our cub is the smartest. Lu Yi took a few mouthfuls of rice and sighed. Of course, it doesn't matter who gave birth to the child. Wan Qiqi raised her eyebrows proudly. She was the first in everything, so the baby she would give birth to would definitely be the first too. Qiqi, you are number 1 in the world, and I am number 2. I will take over your position and become number 1 in the future. Lu Yi was particularly supportive and praised him sincerely. Eat duck legs. Wan Qiqi was very pleased and picked up a duck leg as a reward. You eat too. Lu Yi picked up the duck head, duck rash, duck wings, and duck feet for her. They both loved eating duck, whether it was fried, stewed, or steamed, but they liked different parts. Wan Qiqi likes duck heads, duck feet, duck rashes, and duck wings, while Lu Yi prefers to eat meat, and they can eat a lot of it. Do you know Buying? Wan Qiqi asked casually while gnawing on the duck head. By Laoshu's daughter? Lu Yi and Lu Dishing had the same reaction, and the first thing they thought of was Bai Laoshu. Is Bai Laoshu famous? Wan Qiqi became even more curious, as it seemed that Bai Ying's father was very famous. Bai Laoshu is in charge of logistics for the Jiangcheng military region. He had led troops to fight in the past, but he had never won a battle. He always lost. Later, everyone called him Bai Laoshu and no one called him by his real name anymore, Lu Yi explained. No wonder you named your daughter Buying. Wan Chi understood as soon as she heard it. Old Man Bai was holding back his desire to achieve victory through his daughter, but in the end his daughter also left her civilian job. The old man must have been even more unwilling to accept this. Buying is not in good health and can only work as a civilian. She is very smart and is a radio expert. Why did you mention her suddenly? She may be your sister-in-law in the future. Wan Chi concentrated on sucking the brains out of the duck's head and replied casually. Lu Jiefeng or Lu Yuanchao? Lu Yi looked stunned, a little bit unconvinced. Lu Jiefeng, he's dating Bai Ying. Bring him back next week. Bai Ying is not blind. Has he been kicked in the head by a donkey? Lu Yi said to himself, they are indeed father and son. Their reactions are exactly the same. Your father said the same thing, and also said that Lu Jiefeng might have unrequited love. Anyway, we'll know next week. Wan Chi almost died of laughter and became more and more curious about Bai Ying. Lu Yi also shared the latest news. Mo Jinsong is back. Although Mrs. Zhu is in jail, she still has many people outside who want to settle accounts with him. He came back to avoid the limelight. Wan Chi eyes lit up and he said with a wicked smile, after all, he is a comrade who fought together. We will go to visit him with some gifts later. Yes, I have to have a good chat with his cousin. Lu Yi understood as soon as he heard it, and the same sly smile appeared on his face. The two of them sped up their eating without even washing the dishes. They put the sleeping cub into the space, took malted milk, canned food, and some fruits to visit Emo Fox's house. They first arrived at Emo Huli's house, but the house was dark and it was obvious that he was not at home. He must be at his mother-in-law's house. Lu Yi turned in a familiar direction and went to Xiong Jiaojiao's parents' home, which was also in the compound, not far away, and he arrived there quickly. Sure enough, Mo Jinsong was at the Xiong family, and the whole family was having dinner. Xiong Jiaojiao's brothers and sisters all came, and they brought their families with them, so the house was very lively. Wan Chi and Lu Yi laughed even more happily. It's good to have more people. Good evening. I heard that Brother Mo is back, so I came to see you. I hope I didn't disturb you. Wan Chi knocked on the half-open door, then pushed it open and greeted in a familiar manner. Come in. What are you doing? Have you eaten yet? Xiong Jiaojiao immediately stood up and greeted them warmly. She looked in good condition, with charming eyes and rosy complexion. It was obvious that she had been well nourished by Mo Jinsong last night. We've eaten, you guys eat, don't worry about us. Wan Chi sat on the sofa and looked at Mo Jinsong meaningfully. Mo Jinsong's heart skipped a beat, and he clenched his teeth. These two crazy guys must be trying to be nice and have no good intentions. Xiao Yi and his sister-in-law came to see me. Is it about work? I will be done eating soon. Please wait for me for a while. Mo Jinsong deliberately emphasized the three words, work, to remind these two crazy guys not to mess around. It has nothing to do with work. I just missed Brother Mo after being apart for half a month, so I came to visit him. Wan Chi said with a smile. Chi, have you met Jinsong? Xiong Jiaojiao looked surprised, as she and her husband hadn't seen each other for half a year. We happen to work together for a period of time, and we see each other every now and then. Wan Chi said with a smile. Jinsong didn't even tell me. Xiong Jiaojiao glared at her husband. Her husband never talked to her about work and was very tight-lipped. Mo Jinsong smiled and said nothing. Mr. Xiong scolded him lightly. Jinsong's work must be kept secret. Of course, I can't tell you, and you can't ask. I know that. Xiong Jiaojiao spoke in a coquettish tone, and it was obvious that she was brought up in pampered love at home. Wan Chi smiled and sat down to wait for the girl to finish eating before going over to talk to her in private. Xiong Jiaojiao finished eating. Mo Jinsong said, Dad, Mom, Big Brother and Big Sister, I'm taking Jiaojiao home. Go back quickly and come back for dinner tomorrow. The two elders in the Xiong family were very understanding. They knew that the young couple would definitely want to go back and spend time together after a long separation, so they took the initiative to keep their granddaughter to avoid disturbing them. Mo Jinsong couldn't wait to take Xiong Jiaojiao away, and the Xiong family members all showed relieved smiles. It was a good thing that the young couple had a good relationship. Jiaojiao, I have something to tell you. Go over there. Ruan Qiqi inserted herself between them like a ghost, dragging Xiong Jiaojiao outside to talk, while Lu Yi dragged Mo Jinsong to the other side. This was what the couple had just discussed on the way. Mo Jinsong was not as strong as him, so he was forced to be dragged away. He was so angry that he growled, "Don't talk nonsense. Qiqi will definitely not talk nonsense. You have done nothing wrong, so what are you afraid of?"
Luyisinirit.
The man looked guilty, and he must be having an affair with those old women. Mo Jinsong glared at him fiercely, too lazy to argue with him anymore. Ruan Qiqi pulled Xiong Jiaojiao aside and talked for a full half-hour, even gesticulating. Seeing this, Mo Jinsong felt increasingly worried. This crazy woman must have told him everything about Hong Kong. Talking was not enough. She even exaggerated with gestures. It's true. No wonder I always felt something was wrong. Thank you, Qiqi. I wouldn't have known it if you hadn't reminded me. Xiong Jiaojiao's excited voice came over, and Mo Jinsong's heart finally sank to the bottom. Sure enough, he said it all. You're welcome. We are good sisters. I will definitely tell you if I find out. You and Brother Mo can go back and have a good reunion. We are going home. Ruan Qiqi's voice also came over, and Mo Jinsong gritted his teeth when he heard it. He was only doing this for work, and he had nothing wrong with those old ladies. They just moved around a little too frequently in order to gather information. This crazy woman must have spread rumors to ruin his reputation. Jiaojiao is simple-minded and will definitely believe it. Mo Jinsong suddenly didn't want to go home anymore. He decided to stay at his father-in-law's house. With the two elders watching over him, Jiaojiao would definitely not do anything. Ruan Qiqi walked over and gave him a meaningful smile, which made Mo Jinsong feel very cold inside. It was a pity that he couldn't beat these two lunatics, otherwise he would have beaten them to death. Brother Mo, goodbye. Ruan Qiqi waved enthusiastically and left with Lu Yi. Xiong Jiaojiao also came over and pushed the dazed Mo Jinsong. What's wrong? We going home too? Nothing, I'm a little sleepy. Why don't I sleep at my parents' house tonight? Mo Jinsong pretended to yawn. He didn't want to go back to face Xiong Jiaojiao's tiger fist. He couldn't beat her at all and could only be beaten. You didn't go to work today and I've worked all day, hurry up. Xiong Jiaojiao was not happy. After being separated for half a year, she finally waited for her husband to come back. She didn't want to live with her parents and just wanted to live in a world of two. Mo Jinsong had no choice but to go home with her obediently. Along the way, Xiong Jiaojiao was not chattering like usual, but was silent, as if she was thinking about something. He must have been thinking for a while about how to teach him a lesson. Mo Jinsong looked around and saw that there were still many people on the road. His wife was very considerate of the overall situation and would definitely not teach him a lesson in public. Jiaojiao, what did you talk to Ruan Qiqi about that took so long? Nothing, you don't understand. Xiong Jiaojiao was a little impatient because her husband interrupted her train of thought. Mo Jinsong felt even more depressed. This was a sign that the tigress was about to explode. He had to deal with it before returning home, otherwise he would definitely be beaten badly tonight. Jiaojiao, Ruan Qiqi always likes to exaggerate when she speaks. Don't believe her. No, I think what she said was very honest. If she hadn't reminded me, I would still be in the dark. What did she remind you of? Don't make any noise. I'm just thinking about something. Xiong Jiaojiao spoke in an impatient tone. Her husband was particularly noisy tonight, interrupting her thoughts again and again. It was so annoying. Mo Jinsong's eyes went dark. It was over. That crazy woman Ruan Qiqi must have said a lot of exaggerated words. Jiaojiao, this is the calm before the storm. His bones might even be broken. Mo Jinsong, who was too smart, thought that he would be treated leniently if he confessed. Instead of letting Ruan Qiqi throw dirty water on him, it would be better for him to confess himself. Jiaojiao, don't believe what Ruan Qiqi said. There's really nothing between me and those women. I only interact with them because of work. I swear to God that I have never crossed the line. Don't listen to Ruan Qiqi's bullshit. She just can't stand us getting along. Mo Jinsong swore to heaven and confessed everything. Xiong Jiaojiao, who was originally thinking about a new style of skirt, looked hurt after hearing this. She looked at him coldly and asked, "Since you have nothing to do with those women, why are you so flustered? Ruan Qiqi is spreading rumors and causing trouble. I'm afraid you'll misunderstand." Mo Jinsong's heart skipped a beat, and he suddenly realized that he seemed to have made a mistake. So he quickly asked, "What did Ruan Qiqi say to you?" "She said that yellow clothes don't look good on me, and that they make my skin look particularly dark. She even taught me a few styles of skirts. You must be feeling guilty, so you're worried about what Ruan Qiqi will say to me." Xiong Jiaojiao's voice became colder and colder. Tears flashed at her eyes, her hands clenched into fists, and her joints crackled. "You look good in yellow too. Ruan Qiqi is talking nonsense. Jiaojiao, listen to me. I really have nothing to do with them. It's because Ruan Qiqi said she wanted to talk nonsense to you that I—" "Oh, be gentle, save some face for me outside." Mo Jinsong's intelligence was completely useless at this moment. He was pulled by the arm by Xiong Jiaojiao and did not dare to resist at all. "Hold on and go home." Xiong Jiaojiao growled, "I'll teach you a lesson when we get home." Her mother said that men cannot become successful without being beaten, and she will definitely not show mercy today. Mo Jinsong was dragged all the way back. His arm was pinched so hard that it hurt, but he didn't dare to make a sound. At this moment, he absolutely did not dare to anger his wife again. He prayed secretly that he would not run into any acquaintances. After all, he was a well-known person in the outside world. It would be embarrassing if someone saw him like this. "Jinsong, why don't you go home now that you're back?" Lu Disheng's loud voice came from the opposite side, and Mo Jinsong's heart skipped a beat. Whatever he feared would come true. "Jiaojiao!" He cried out softly, and Xiong Jiaojiao gave him a cold look and loosened her grip on him a little, but still held it very tightly. "Dad, Uncle Lu." Xiong Jiaojiao greeted politely. Mo Jinsong also called for help with a smile, and leaned forward a little to block his wife's hand from pinching him. He didn't want to show his embarrassing side in front of his father at all. After Lu Disheng and Mo Qiufeng had finished their meal, they took a walk in the courtyard to digest the food. Just as they were about to go home to rest, they saw the young couple from afar. "When did you come back?" Mo Qiufeng asked calmly, glancing at their connected arms. "The day before yesterday, I came back to rest for a while." Mo Jinsong's attitude was very respectful and polite, so much so that they didn't seem like father and son, but more like superiors and subordinates. "It's not good for you to come home and sit down when you get back, kid." Lu Disheng lectured him unceremoniously. Mo Jinsong is impeccable at work, but the relationship between father and son is too awkward. He and his eldest son used to quarrel every day, but they have never been so unfamiliar. The father and son neither quarrel nor fight. They are as calm and rational as strangers. Jinsong just came back and is not feeling well. Asked him to rest at home and planned to go see his dad tomorrow. Xiong Jiaojiao took the blame on herself. In fact, when her husband just came back, she proposed to go see her father-in-law, but her husband was unwilling. After so many years of marriage, her husband was willing to listen to her on everything else, except for two things she had no right to interfere in. One is work. The second is the indifferent relationship with my father-in-law. Her father also told her not to interfere, saying that matters between her husband and father-in-law were beyond the control of outsiders and could only be figured out between the two of them. Mo Qiufeng smiled and said softly, "If you are not feeling well, just rest more. It's okay if you don't go home. You guys should go home." "Well, Dad, Uncle Lu, goodbye." Xiong Jiaojia said goodbye politely, and Mo Jinsong followed suit before being dragged away by her. Lu Disheng looked at their backs and said with emotion, "The couple has such a good relationship. They even walk hand in hand."
Montag Qiufeng smilet.
It was true that they had a good relationship, but he guessed that the boss would have to eat the first meal tonight. The eldest daughter-in-law has always been gentle and considerate, but even clay figures have tempers. Once the little bear gets angry, the eldest son will be in big trouble. Thinking that the boss was about to suffer, Mo Chiufeng felt inexplicably refreshed and the smile on his face deepened. What's going on between you and Jin Song? You two are more distant than outsiders. You need to take the initiative and stop being so arrogant. Put down your status and care about the child. You are good at persuading me, but why can't you do it when it's your turn? Lu Dishing advised earnestly that it would not work for the father and son to remain so estranged from each other. After all, you are not young anymore, and half of your body is buried in the earth. Your face is not that important. What's wrong with you being submissive and lowering your head for your son? Look at me. Didn't I lower my head and be submissive? You are Xiaoya and Chi-Chi. We are generous and won't bother with you. Mo Chiufeng snorted coldly and rolled his eyes in disdain. Between him and his eldest son are qualitatively different from those between old Lu and his son, and he doesn't want to change. He thinks things are fine as they are now. The boss has always regarded him as an imaginary enemy and wants to surpass him. This is good. I hope the boss can really surpass him. It's up to you. I don't care. Lu Disheng walked in front with a snort, and Mo Chiufeng followed slowly behind. After a while, Lu Disheng in front slowed down, and when he caught up, the two walked side by side again. Wan Chi-Chi and Lu Yi arrived at Mo Jinsong's house early, lay on the tree outside the window, and waited for a long time, but the couple did not come back. You won't never come back, will you? Lu Yi asked in a low voice. Let me ask. Wan Chi-Chi asked the tree under her. I met your dad and Uncle Mo on the way and chatted for a while. Hid yourself quickly. Hid again, and sure enough, not long after, Xiong Jiao came back angrily, dragging someone with her. After opening the door, she pushed Mo Jinsong inside and then slammed the door shut. The couple on the tree were very excited, thinking that something good was about to happen. But, brush. Xiong Jiao actually pulled down the curtains because her mother said that when beating a man, the doors and windows should be closed so that outsiders cannot see. Wan Chi-Chi and Lu Yi on the tree looked at each other, then immediately slid down from the tree, quickly ran upstairs, and squatted under the window of the Xiong family to eavesdrop. Fortunately, it was windy at night. Everyone in the family building had their doors closed, and there was no one in the corridor, so no one would mistake them for thieves. Jiao, Wan Chi-Chi is really talking nonsense. Her words stink worse than farts. You must not believe her.
Ouch.
Be gentle. Mo Jinsong still wanted to quibble, but unfortunately Xiong Jiao was furious at the moment and didn't want to listen to him at all. She pushed him down on the bed and slapped his butt several times. Don't hit people in the face, especially men. This is what Mother Bear taught her, so Xiong Jiao only spanks them on the buttocks. The injury was in the dark and could not be seen by outsiders. Her anger subsided, and the man did not lose face, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. The curtains were drawn on the windows in the corridor, so Wan Chi-Chi and the others could only hear sounds but could not see anything. Chi-Chi, he said bad things about you.
Lu Yi whispered.
I heard it. Wan Chi-Chi's face turned cold. Next time she went to Hong Kong, she would directly throw Mo Huli onto Mrs. Qian's bed. Mrs. Qian is at least twice as thick as Mrs. Zhu, and she has no neck at all. She is drooling over Fox Mo Humph. I will scare him to death when the time comes. No sound of talking in the room, only the sound of slapping, which sounded like spanking. Could it be that Xiong Jiao has been spanking Mo Foxes but all the time? The two exchanged puzzled looks. Is this just a little trick? Isn't it just stripping, whipping, and sprinkling salt on top? Xiong Jiao is really a hopeless person. The slapping sound in the room continued for 10 minutes, and then Xiong Jiao's voice came out. You sleep on the floor, and I don't know how many women you have touched outside. Don't touch me, it's dirty. Jiao, if I have done anything to let you down, I will be struck by lightning and die a miserable death. We have been married for many years and have such a deep relationship. Do we have to become alienated because of a little instigation from outsiders? Jiao, in my heart, you have always been a girl with your own opinions who can distinguish right from wrong. This has never changed. Mo Jinsong's tone was particularly firm, and he even swore and swore, and then began to speak sweet words. It was obvious that his words were fake at first glance, but when they came out of this guy's mouth, they seemed particularly sincere. Hypocrisy.
Lui snorted koldi.
He almost vomited after hearing that. Wan Chichi also felt sick after hearing this. Such words sounded obviously fake, and no woman would be fooled by them. But, you really have nothing to do with those women? Xiong Jiao's tone softened. If I have an affair with them, I will never see the sun tomorrow. Jiao, you have always known that I am disgusted by other women. I feel like vomiting when they touch me, but you are the only one who doesn't. I really force myself to deal with those women for work. I feel so disgusted every day when I go home that I can't even eat. Mo Jinsong complained aggrievedly, and he was not lying. The smell of perfume on those old women was indeed disgusting. Why does your boss let you do this kind of work? Can you please stop doing it? Xiong Jiao sounded distressed and was also dissatisfied with her husband's leader. Why couldn't someone else be sent to do the job? For the sake of the country, it doesn't matter if I suffer a little injustice. Besides, if I do my job well, I will be promoted faster. As long as I think about the future, I can support you and your children. No matter how hard it is, it will be sweet. Mo Jinsong spoke in such a loving and affectionate manner that the two people who were eavesdropping outside were so nauseated. Wan Chichi and Lu Yi were rubbing the goosebumps on their arms, feeling almost sick of it. Xiong Jiao in the house was so moved that her eyes were filled with tears. She rubbed her husband's butt distressfully, feeling extremely regretful. I'm sorry, I was too impulsive. Does it still hurt? It hurts a little bit, it's my fault too. I should have taken the initiative to explain it to you. Blame me, I don't deserve your kindness to me. I'm sorry. You are perfect in my heart, without any flaws. Next time if you get angry, can you be gentler? Mo Jinsong made the request in a wrong tone. His buttocks were swollen from being beaten. How would he sit tomorrow?
Got it.
I'll apply medicine for you. Xiong Jiao was so amused that she burst into laughter and took the initiative to apply medicine to him. The two people in the house reconciled. Their relationship was even better than before, and they were even more inseparable. The two people outside the house looked at each other, with a big FCK written all over their eyes. Even in such a situation, it can still be reversed. It is true that Mo Huli is born with a silver tongue. Even if Zhuge Liang is alive again, he will have to admit defeat to him. The door of the neighbor's house opened, and the two of them quickly got up and left as if nothing had happened. Mo Huli is so shameless, and Xiong Jiao is so stupid that she actually believed these nonsense. After returning home, Lu Yi complained angrily, feeling very disappointed with Xiong Jiao. It's okay. I'll go to Hong Kong in the second half of the year and throw Mo Huli to Qian Tai's house. Wan Chichi comforted him and also comforted herself. The two of them went into the space to pick up their son. Potato Baby was sleeping soundly. Lu Yi picked up his son and went out. Wan Chichi went to the vegetable garden to pick strawberries. The fruits in the space were big and sweet and especially delicious. After picking half a basin of strawberries, Wan Chichi went to pick 2 peaches and suddenly found something wrong. She only planted 5 strawberry plants, and she could pick 1 basin every day, enough for her and Lu Yi to eat. But today I only picked half a pot of strawberries because the strawberries were growing slowly. Wan Chichi checked other crops and found that they were indeed much slower. Could it be that the space was also on strike? A moment, and she was too lazy to think about it, so she went out with a bowl of strawberries and 2 peaches. Chichi, why isn't the baby awake yet? He usually drinks a bottle of milk at this time. Lu Yi was a little worried. He had just called Potato a few times, but Potato didn't wake up. He was sleeping very soundly. In the past, at this time, the kid would wake up by himself and clamor for food. Wan Chichi checked the baby and found that he was breathing slowly and his complexion was rosy, so he didn't look like he had any problems. So she said, "If he's not awake, he's not hungry.
He's fine."
After they finished eating the fruit, they went to sleep. The next day, the family of 3 woke up almost at the same time because little Potato was hungry and screamed in bed, waking up his parents. "Baby is hungry." Louis jumped off the bed swiftly, first picked up the baby to go pee, and then went to make the milk powder. His movements were very quick and efficient. The little baby seemed to be very hungry. He drank 2 bottles of milk in a row and was finally satisfied. He lay on the bed and played with his feet without any adult supervision. Louis went to the cafeteria to get 2 breakfasts. After he finished eating, he went to work. He left Ruan Chi-Chi's breakfast in the space so that she could eat it when she got up. Mother. The little cub got tired of playing with his feet, so he twisted and turned and crawled to Ruan Chi-Chi's side. He gently patted her face with his chubby paws and kissed her with his wet mouth, licking her face until it was covered with saliva. What? Ruan Chi-Chi couldn't pretend to sleep anymore. Her face was covered with saliva. How could she sleep? Mother. The little cub could only call for his mother, but he obviously had something to say, but he couldn't say it, so he was so anxious that he could only clap with his paws. Are you hungry? Ruan Chi-Chi sat up, held the baby in her arms, and asked. The baby shook his head and struggled hard in her arms, looking very anxious. Wanna pee? Ruan Chi-Chi lifted the diaper, and her little bird was not ready, so she probably didn't want to pee. The little cub was a little angry and jumped hard in her arms, poked his chubby face lightly, and said angrily, How do I know what you're going to do if you don't tell me? I, your mother, am not a bug in your stomach. Seeing the little guy's angry and aggrieved look, Ruan Chi-Chi suddenly had an idea. Could it be that? Are you going to come here? She carried the cub into the space, and sure enough, the little guy's eyes lit up, and he jumped up and down in her arms, obviously wanting to go down and play. Ruan Chi-Chi went to find a blanket, spread it on the ground, then put the kid down and let him play by himself. She was eating breakfast nearby. The little guy was obviously interested in the meat buns and watched her eat them eagerly. Ruan Chi-Chi broke off a small piece and stuffed it into his mouth. The kid ate it with relish. After he finished eating, he opened his mouth wide again, waiting to be fed. The mother and daughter took turns eating and finished their breakfast. Someone knocked on the door. Ruan Chi-Chi left the space and left the baby behind. The space is very safe and the animals are very docile. Those fat snakes are too lazy to sleep from morning to night and only move when eating. Even if they are pecked by chickens, the snakes will not move at all. The person who came was Xiong Jiao, carrying a bag of fruit. Chi-Chi, I want to ask you something. Xiong Jiao smiled embarrassedly. Ask me, I'll tell you what I know. Ruan Chi-Chi also smiled, and guessed what she wanted to ask. Sure enough, Xiong Jiao asked hesitantly. You have worked with Jin Song before. Did he get particularly close to any female comrades there? Although she was coaxed into peace by Mo Jin Song last night, her brain came back a little bit after a night. The more she thought about it, the more she felt something was wrong, so she came over to ask. Ruan Chi-Chi was about to answer when the door was pushed open and Xia Tao rushed in. She just happened to hear what Xiong Jiao asked and blurted out, Those old women call Mo Jin Song darling, and they are so affectionate. Xiong Jiao's face changed drastically. What kind of relationship could make a woman call a man baby? Mo Jin Song had deceived her with sweet words last night. She hated herself now. She would always be moved to tears by her husband's sweet words and regret it afterwards. But this time she would definitely not be fooled again. She would not believe a word Mo Jin Song said. Chi-Chi, I'm leaving. Goodbye. Xiong Jiao walked away with a grim look on her face. Xia Tao picked up some fruit from the table and ate it, and asked, Is this woman a guest of Mo Jin Song's family? Yes, you annoyed him off. Ruan Chi-Chi's tone was very calm. She hadn't planned to say anything just now. Mo Huli was cunning and good at flattering people. No matter how much she said, it would be useless. In the end, Xiong Jiao would be coaxed anyway. And she didn't really want to break up the couple. Ruining someone's marriage would send one to hell, and she didn't want to go to that hellhole. Xia Tao chased after her in annoyance, but Xiong Jiao had already gone far away. If I had known this, I would have advised her to divorce. It's better to divorce a man like Mo Jin Song as soon as possible. It is better to tear down 10 temples than to ruin a marriage. The couple is very loving, so stay out of their business. Ruan Chi-Chi persuaded her, saying that it was okay to make a joke, but it was wrong to persuade people to divorce. What are you doing here? Wan Qiqi changed the subject. I asked you to go to a meeting. Dingy said Director Yang is going to hold a meeting. Everyone in Group B must attend, except those who are on business trips. Xia Tao spoke with disgust. She leaked urine 3 times a day and still refused to stop. What is zitch? No. Wan Qiqi refused directly. Job 759 was dispensable to her. She went to work there before because of Pei Yuan's face. Now that Pei Yuan was gone, she could quit the worst job at any time. Then I won't go either. How about adding some more food to the sheep tonight? Xia Tao was bored and wanted to find some fun. No need. Let Luyi go to the timer again at night. He leaks urine 12 times a day. Let's see how long he can last. Wan Qiqi sneered. 3 times of urination was indeed too little. Once an hour was not enough even with a diaper. It's already 12 times. How about 24 times? Xia Tao still felt it was not satisfying enough. It would be better to do it once an hour. Do you think he's a faucet? Water comes out all the time? Wan Qiqi rolled her eyes. Luyi could do it 24 times, but Director Yang's body couldn't take it. She didn't want to kill anyone. Xia Tao had no choice but to give up and said unwillingly, "There are too many rules. I am restricted in everything I do. It's not fun at all. Then you can go to Hong Kong. It's freer there." Wan Qiqi continued, "Xia Tao's identity and personality are indeed more suitable for Hong Kong. I'll go back later." Xia Tao also likes Hong Kong very much, but she definitely can't stay there for a long time. Her adoptive parents' graves are here, and she has to burn paper money for them every year. Otherwise, she will have no money to spend and will be bullied in the underworld. After having a meal here, Xia Tao left in a hurry. Wan Qiqi went back to the space to play with her son, but the baby was sleeping on the blanket with his legs spread out. She covered him with a small blanket and went to take a look at the vegetable garden. Sure enough, the growth was even slower, and there was not even half a basin of strawberries. Wan Qiqi frowned. Could it be that the space given by the King of Hell also has a shelf life? But the King of Hell said at the beginning that he would take it back after her death, and now she is still in her prime. Wan Qiqi picked the ripe strawberries. There were only 5 or 6 in total, and she didn't even need to wash them. She just put them into her mouth and ate them. They were sweet and juicy. As she was eating, her mind suddenly became clear, and she figured out something. The crops in the space grew slower twice, both times after the cub came in. Could it be that the cub sucked away the spiritual energy? So that's why the little guy was hungry last night and slept until dawn? Wan Qiqi ran over to see her son, and just like last night, he was breathing deeply, had a rosy complexion, and was sleeping very soundly. "Did you eat some spiritual energy? Little jerk, who are you?" She gently poked the baby's face and became even more curious about the little guy's origins. But she was sure that the little cub was definitely not an adult. His eyes were so clear that it was impossible for him to be the soul of an adult. This time, the little guy slept until dark and wanted to eat as soon as he woke up, and he drank 2 bottles in one breath. In the next few days, Wan Qiqi put the cubs into the space every day. The growth of the crops became slower and slower day by day, but after a week, there was no change, and it was slowly recovering. Obviously, the spiritual energy in the space is renewable. Before, the regeneration speed was not as fast as the speed at which the cubs absorbed it, which caused the crops to grow slowly. Now that the regeneration speed has caught up, the crops have returned to their original growth speed. Wan Qiqi also discovered that the baby had grown a lot. The 7-month-old baby was said to be 1 year old when he was taken out. Originally, the baby could only crawl, but now he can walk a few steps by holding onto the wall, and his little feet are particularly strong. Mother. Balls. The little guy walked over holding onto the wall, speaking clearly that he wanted to eat the balls. Wan Qiqi picked up the cooled egg custard. She steamed 2 eggs. Zizi's appetite was at least twice as big as that of an ordinary child, so 1 egg was not enough to fill him up. A bowl of egg custard was finished in a short while. The little guy patted his belly contentedly and walked around happily, holding onto the wall. With this amount of exercise, Wan Chichi estimated that he would be hungry again in a while. After resting at home for a week, Wan Chichi went to school. The Workers, Peasants and Soldiers University is a 2-year program, and she will graduate in June. For the last 2 months of study, she planned to attend classes honestly and not take leave. I haven't been to school for a long time. A new classmate moved into the dormitory. Her name is Yao Kursun. She is a grade lower than them, but she is the oldest in the dormitory at 25 years old. Yao Kursun is not particularly pretty, but she speaks gently, has a nice voice, is good at dressing herself up, and looks very feminine. However, she is not very popular. Wan Chichi heard from Li Yuqin that this girl was an expert on gossip, and there was no news she didn't know. Yao Kursun was an educated youth from Shanghai. I heard that she was married once and had a child. Her husband's father was a team leader. The educated youth who went to the countryside with her said that Yao Kursun married the team leader's son within half a year of going to the countryside. After the marriage, she coaxed the team leader's son into falling in love with him. He didn't have to do any work at home or outside. She kicked out such a good man and didn't want their 2 children. It was quite cruel. Li Yuqin's tone showed dissatisfaction with Yao Kursun. She felt that as a mother, she could abandon her husband but not her child. Can you just throw away the flesh that fell off your body? Outsiders don't understand what's going on between a couple, so stay out of their business. Wan Chichi had no interest in Yao Kursun's private life, and in her opinion, there might be some hidden reasons behind Yao Kursun's marriage, which was not as simple as outsiders saw. As long as Yao Kursun doesn't provoke her, she can live in peace. You don't know that Yao Kursun had an affair with a man. The reason for the divorce was that she had an affair with a commune cadre who helped her go to college. Li Yuqin lowered her voice and spoke mysteriously. Wan Chichi glanced at Yao Kursun, who was walking over, and said calmly, "One is willing to fight, the other is willing to be beaten. It has nothing to do with us." After saying that, she got up and went to wash the dishes. Yao Kursun might be a woman who would do anything to achieve her goals, but that was understandable. As long as she didn't hurt innocent people, she would admire such a woman. It's 100 times better than those stupid women who are obsessed with love, sacrifice for men, and feel self-satisfied. 3rd update finished. Good night. Wan Chichi took the empty lunchbox to wash it, but when she got to the sink she realized that she had forgotten to get hot water. It was early April, and it was a bit cool in Tianzhou. She had eaten braised pork today, and the lunchbox was full of oil, so she needed hot water to wash it clean. Xia Tao also came over, and Wan Chichi asked her, "No eyes?" Xia Tao spread her hands, showing only an empty lunchbox, and blurted out something. "Give you face?" Wan Chichi was so angry that she laughed. She didn't know what medicine this crazy woman had taken recently. Her words were getting worse and worse. If she did this again next time, she would throw her to the mountain and hang her on a tree to swing for 3 days and 3 nights. "I only have 1 lunchbox in my hands. You clearly saw it, but you still asked, what did I say wrong?" Xia Tao's momentum immediately weakened a lot, and she explained silently with a suppressed voice. "You are getting lazier and lazier. You knew you had to wash the lunchbox, so why didn't you get some hot water? Remember to bring it next time." Wan Chichi took advantage of the situation and spoke harshly. Xia Tao gritted her teeth, got angry for a while, and finally replied in frustration, "I know." She could win. She would definitely throw the lunchbox in her hand at him. Why was he being so arrogant in front of her? Wan Chichi let out a breath and felt much more relaxed. She prepared to rinse herself with cold water and then wash herself in the dormitory. "Use mine." Yao Kursun handed over a pot of hot water. "Thank you." Wan Chichi was stunned for a moment, then thanked him and poured half of the lunchbox full of hot water. "You're welcome." Yao Kursun smiled slightly, and seeing that Xia Tao also wanted to take a shower, she asked her if she wanted hot water. "Yes, thank you." Xia Tao didn't hesitate and poured some hot water for washing. Yao Kursun walked away carrying a half pot of hot water. She was wearing a khaki linen suit that was about 60% new. The waist was pulled in, making her waist look slimmer and her walk more graceful. "Are you familiar with her?" Xia Tao asked casually after washing the dishes. We just met today. You stayed with her for a few nights, but you didn't talk? Wan Qiqi shook her lunchbox and prepared to go back to the dormitory. What's there to say? I'm not familiar with you. Xia Tao also shook her lunchbox and walked side by side with her. Why are there so many people around? Let me go and take a look. Downstairs of the dormitory building. Xia Tao saw them from afar and immediately became interested. She ran over to watch the fun. She was strong and squeezed in after a while. Wan Qiqi also took advantage of this and easily squeezed to the innermost part.
Mom, I'm hungry. Mom.
It's cold. Yao Kurson was held back by two children. The boy was 4 or 5 years old, and the girl was 2 or 3 years old. Although their clothes were worn out, the two children dressed fairly cleanly. However, their faces were very red, and there were small cracks on them because they did not use facial cream in the winter. Both children were good-looking and somewhat similar to Yao Kurson. Her legs were held by her brother and sister, so she couldn't walk.
Mom.
I miss you. The little girl had the same big eyes as Yao Kurson, filled with tears, which made her look particularly pitiful. Yao Kurson turned her head away, her expression cold and indifferent. Without a trace of fluctuation, she said coldly, He in pain. Take the child back and don't come here again. They are your own flesh and blood. Yao Kurson, you're so cruel. The man who was speaking was in his 30s, of medium height. Although he was wearing a mouse suit that was about 70% new, it still couldn't hide his rusticity. Standing next to the gentle and charming Yao Qian, they seemed like people from two different worlds. Their last name is He, and they are from your He family. We are divorced, and it has nothing to do with me. Yao Kurson didn't even look at the children. She ruthlessly pried open the two children's hands and resolutely walked into the dormitory building.
Mom. Mom.
The two children cried bitterly, and the students next to them also started crying, thinking that Yao Kurson was too cold-blooded and heartless. Yao Kurson, you're the first one. Don't blame me for being the 15th. I'm going to find your school leaders right now and tell them what an easy woman you are. You got your university place by sleeping with men. You're just an easy woman who can be slept with by anyone. You fooled me, and I won't let you off easily. Just wait. The man roared like a madman and said a lot of ugly things about Yao Kurson. The students who were watching all frowned and looked at each other with contempt. Yao Kurson was indeed that kind of person. They were not wrong. Yao Kurson had already gone upstairs, but she turned back and walked closer to the man with a kettle in her hand. The man stopped scolding and looked complacent. He knew that women care most about their reputation and would definitely not dare to make trouble with him. He was too stupid before, so he was fooled by this sitch and agreed to divorce. Now he has thought it through and must remarry. This stinky woman is his in life and will be his in death. There is no way she can escape from his grasp. Yao Kurson's gentle face. She was getting closer and closer to the man. The veins on the back of her hand bulged because she was holding the kettle too hard. She wanted to hit the man on the head with the kettle to make him shut up, but she was a step too slow, and a stone entered the man's mouth, breaking his 2 front teeth with a click. The man subconsciously covered his mouth, and blood flowed out from between his fingers.
Who the heck did this?
It must be Yao Kurson's adulterer. You jerks, come out if you dare. I'll kill you. The man had a ferocious look on his face, but his words leaked out, which made him lose half of his momentum and even look a little funny. I did it. Who do you want to kill? Xia Tao walked out swaggeringly, with an empty lunchbox in her hand. Yao Kurson looked surprised. She didn't expect that it would be Xia Tao who stepped forward. She knew that her classmates didn't like her, and Xia Tao had never spoken to her in the dormitory, and she wouldn't even say hello when they met. She thought Xia Tao hated her just like everyone else. Oh my God. Oh, when the man saw that it was a woman, his eyes became fierce and he started cursing and was about to attack her, but before he could finish his curse, he started screaming in pain. Xia Tao restrained him with only one hand, and with the other hand, holding an empty lunchbox, she slapped him in the face, once on the left side and then on the right side, in a very even manner. You've never been to school? You don't understand what people say? I've divorced you, so what right do you have to make a fuss? After a divorce, you're single. It's her freedom to find a man. What's it got to do with you? How dare you come to school to make trouble? You said that someone was cheating on you. Do you have evidence? Catch the thief and take the stolen goods. Catch the adulterer and take both of them. Your empty words, even he won't believe it. Our school is full of highly intelligent college students. How can they believe your empty words? You still dare to stare at me? Do you give me face? The harder Xia Tao hit, and the more fiercely she scolded him. The man's small face was instantly beaten into a flat face. The students who were watching nearby had hot tempers on their faces. They suspected that Xia Tao was implying that they were mentally slow, but they had no evidence. Woo-woo. The man had several teeth knocked out and his screams were muffled. Not a single word could be heard. He wanted to resist, but under Xia Tao's iron grip, he was unable to do so. Yao Kersen was stunned. Her mind was in a mess, and she didn't know what to do for a moment. Are you really not going to acknowledge these two children? Wan Qiqi whispered in her ear. Yao Kersen came to her senses immediately. The brother and sister were worried about their father and cried anxiously. They even wanted to go and help. However, under Xia Tao's suppression of force, the three of them were no match for her. No, in their hearts, the He family is more important than me. This was the first time Yao Kersen told someone her true thoughts. She didn't know whether Wan Qiqi could understand her. Even if she didn't, it didn't matter. She didn't need others to understand her. As long as she knew the path she wanted to take in the future, that was enough. Then deny it. Wan Qiqi didn't ask any more questions. Yao Kersen was a little dumbfounded again and couldn't help asking, "Do you understand what I mean? Well, they won't be hungry or cold in the He family, so it doesn't matter if they don't recognize them." Wan Qiqi smiled. Although the clothes worn by the two children were patched, they were very clean. The brother and sister did not look malnourished. The little girl even had a beautiful red hairpin on. And Yao Kersen's ex-husband doesn't look like he comes from a poor family. Li Yuqin said that this man's father is the team leader, so he can't be bad at all. The children are not the mother's sole responsibility. Yao Kersen definitely cares about these two children, but if she acknowledges the children, she will never be able to get rid of her ex-husband's entanglement in her life. It's like a bird that wants to spread its wings and fly high, but its wings are held by a string. No matter how hard it tries, it can't fly into the sky and can only be trapped in the same place forever. If you want to fly high, you must cut that line. Yao Kersen is now cutting the string that is holding her back. That's enough. Wan Qiqi screamed. If the beating continued, someone would die. You think it's glorious to scold the guest in front of you for cheating on you? Don't you know that women who cheat on others have little earthworms in their homes? You are just flattering yourself, but I have never seen anyone who wants to announce to the world that he is a little earthworm. Do you think you should be beaten? Xia Tao hit the man several more times before stopping, but she didn't stop talking. She continued to attack the man personally, and every word she said pierced the man's lungs. The man didn't dare to scream anymore. He glared at her angrily. His mouth was full of blood, which flowed out from the corners of his mouth and dripped onto his collar. "Dad." The brother and sister hugged him and cried. The man hugged the two children and looked at Yao Kersen resentfully. Seeing that she remained indifferent, he couldn't help feeling bitter. This woman has cold blood, is heartless and ungrateful, and even the flesh falling from her body cannot move her. He is afraid that he will never be able to control this woman again. His father said that after graduating from the worker-peasant-soldier college, they became cadres who were paid by the state and had a monthly salary of 42 yuan. His father was a team leader, and the whole family could only save 100 yuan from working from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. On average, I can save about 10 yuan every month, which makes me a wealthy family in the village. Yao Kersen's monthly salary is 42 yuan, which is 500 yuan a year. He has never seen so much money in his life. As long as he can control this woman, the money will be his. He doesn't have to do anything and can still enjoy a good life. He was full of confidence before coming here, but now he is discouraged and full of regrets. He shouldn't have believed the woman's sweet words and divorced her. Now he has no way to regret it. He giant pain. I came to college because I performed well in all aspects. The commune recommended me to go to college. It's useless for you to throw dirty water on me. The school leaders, I will be able to see through everything and will not listen to your nonsense. If you make trouble again next time, I will ask the police to arrest you and send you to reform. I can do what I say, you can give it a try. Yao Kersen walked up to the man and warned him coldly.
You
Are so cruel. The man cursed incoherently, and Yao Kersen understood. She sneered, and without looking at him or the child again, she turned and left, her back looking particularly resolute. Get out of here. Xia Tao raised the lunchbox and pretended to hit him. The man was frightened, and his face changed. He took the two children and left. But he did not leave the school and moved into a guest house with his children. 309 slept today. Even Liu Qin, who usually loved to take a nap, was particularly awake today because they were all asking Yao Kersen about her attitude towards children. The child will not starve to death or freeze to death in the He family. You don't have to worry. Yao Kersen's tone was indifferent, and there was no fluctuation when she mentioned the child. It did not sound like a mother's attitude towards her own child at all. Do you miss your children at all? They are your own children. Liu Qin's tone was a little harsh because she couldn't understand Yao Kersen's behavior. She has two children. When she first came to college, she couldn't sleep at night because she missed her children so much. She immediately called home the next day. Only when she heard her children's voices did she feel at ease. Her children are her life. She can give up anything except her two children. Today, when she saw Yao Kersen's two children, she thought of herself in their shoes. She felt as if her heart was being cut by a knife and she couldn't bear it at all. No matter how hard or difficult it was, she would keep the children by her side. Their surname is He, and they are He Jianping's flesh and blood. The He family values them very much. Yao Kersen's tone remained calm, as if she was talking about someone else. If He Jianping remarries and has children, he will have a hard time under the control of his stepmother. Liu Qin expressed her concerns. After all, they are my own children. They provide me with food. Even if something happens, it is their life. Yao Kersen said seemed particularly cold-blooded and ruthless, which made Liu Qin very angry. She felt that Yao Kersen was too selfish and cold-blooded and was not worthy of being a mother. Go to sleep. Wan Qiqi climbed onto the bed and didn't want to listen anymore. Yao Kersen is very opinionated and decisive. She doesn't need any guidance from others. Liu Qin is a little too enthusiastic. But it's understandable. This girl has always had a smooth life, and the biggest hardship she has experienced was giving birth to a child. She certainly can't understand Yao Kersen's choice. Wan Qiqi could understand, so she respected Yao Qian's choice. Sleep. Xia Tao and Sheng Wanjing also went to bed, and the dormitory returned to silence. Everyone fell asleep, but only Wan Qiqi and the other three really slept. The others were lying in bed thinking. I had only slept for a short while when the radio started ringing, and it was time to go to class. To class, Wan Qiqi walked beside Yao Kersen and reminded her, your ex-husband lives in a guest house and will definitely go to the school leaders and tell them nonsense. Whatever he says, it's useless. Yao Kersen's voice was soft but firm, and she looked like she had everything planned out. He Jianping did take his two children to see the school leaders. He spoke in tears in the office, and the listeners cried. He described Yao Kersen as cold-blooded, fickle, and selfish, and expressed how wronged he himself was. School leaders would not believe one-sided words and called Yao Kersen over for questioning. The next day, He Jianping left with his child in dejection because the school leaders did not help him. Instead, they criticized him and warned him not to come to the school to make trouble in the future, otherwise they would report him to the police and arrest him and send him to prison. This matter was raised high and then dropped lightly, which made all the teachers and students in the school very puzzled. In the past, there had been students who abandoned their husbands and children, or wives and children, and the school dealt with them very seriously. However, Yao Kersen did not receive any punishment at all. Everyone was very confused. Yao Kersen and Director Zhong are in love. Director Zhong is already 46 years old. Class the next day, Xia Tao wrote a shocking piece of news on a piece of paper and threw it to Wan Qiqi. Wan Qiqi opened it and thought for a long time before she remembered Director Zhong. It was indeed quite unexpected. Director Zhong is the director of the school's General Affairs Office, which is a lucrative job, and he has a very high status in the school. Because he has a good relationship with the principal, all the teachers and students in the school have to give him some face. Also a widower. His wife died of illness a few years ago, and his 2 children are married and have their own families. So Director Zhong is an old bachelor with money and power, but he is a little old. However, Director Zhong looks like a fair-faced scholar, and he is well-maintained and has a bookish air. He appears to be in his 30s and does not look old. After class, Wan Qiqi couldn't wait to ask, "Really? When did I ever say anything false?" Xia Tao rolled her eyes and spoke rudely. Wan Qiqi endured it. Eating the melon was more important. They have been together for 2 months, and they are both sleepy. But Director Zhong is still hesitating whether to get married. Xia Tao told the latest news and said angrily. He refused to admit his mistake after pulling up his pants. This Zhong is not a good person. I will teach him a lesson later. Come on, there are so many men in the world. Can you teach them all a lesson? Wan Qiqi rolled her eyes. I wish all the men were dead. Xia Tao blurted out, but soon she noticed Wan Qiqi's cold eyes and quickly changed her words. Except the 2 in your family. Wan Qiqi snorted and continued with the class, but she also understood that the reason why the school was lenient with Yao Kersen was definitely because of Director Zhong's contribution. This woman has a clear goal and uses very clever methods. Director Zhong probably won't be able to escape from her clutches. Spring is indeed a season of restlessness. The feelings between Su Erfeng and comrade Xiao Chao are growing deeper and deeper, and they're already talking about getting married. After graduation, Su Erfeng went to get a marriage certificate, and she also secured a job, so she stayed in Tianzhou. Although Sheng Wanqing and Ding Yi were still arguing, Wan Qiqi, as a bystander, could see clearly that Sheng Wanqing was also moved, but the girl was too slow to realize it and had not reacted yet, so Ding Yi still had to wait. Even He Aihong, who aspires to become an official, is pursued by a male classmate. The 2 have been going very close recently, and it looks like good things are about to happen. 309 He Aihong, someone is looking for you. The voice of the dormitory manager came from the loudspeaker. He Aihong was trimming her bangs in front of the mirror. She has been very fond of dressing up recently. Not only has her hair grown longer, but she also trims her bangs frequently. It is obvious that she is feeling romantic. Hearing the broadcast, He Aihong jumped up excitedly and almost poked her eyes with the scissors in her hand. You think your single eyelids are ugly and want to get double eyelids? Wan Qiqi joked. My single eyelids are also very beautiful. You don't know how to appreciate them. He Aihong used to dislike her single eyelids, but now she is very confident because some people praise her single eyelids as the most beautiful in the world. After carefully trimming her bangs, He Aihong trotted downstairs. Is Aihong really together with that guy? Su Erfeng asked curiously. We haven't confirmed the relationship yet, but it looks like it's almost there. Li Yuqin is well-informed and knows everything. I don't think that man is that good. Aihong should find someone better. Su Erfeng looked down on the man and felt that he was not worthy of He Aihong. Is that man ugly? Xia Tao asked. He is a man of great talent and a graceful figure. Li Yuqin rushed to answer. Is he uneducated? Xia Tao asked again. He's from our school, majoring in civil engineering. That's good. Xia Tao didn't understand. It sounded like the men were all good-looking. She ran to the window and looked down. She saw He Aihong and a young man in a Zhongshan suit talking face-to-face. The man was of medium height, with fair skin, and wearing glasses. He was indeed handsome and well-mannered. In terms of appearance, the man was better. This man's family is burdened with too many problems. His mother has cataracts, his father is paralyzed and in a wheelchair, and he has a stupid brother. He is the only normal person in the family of 4. Su Erfeng talked about the man's family situation, and everyone fell silent. He Aihong plans to help the poor? Xia Tao muttered to herself in a pointed way. Just as he finished speaking, He Ai-hong came back with a small bag in her hand and a sweet smile on her face, which was completely different from her usual serious expression. It looks like lovebirds have arrived. What does AI Xinyuan want to talk to you about? Li Yuqin asked with concern. He brought me something. He just went home and brought me some sweet potato chips that his mother had dried. He Ai-hong opened the cloth bag, and inside were a few slices of sweet potato slices. There was no sesame seeds sprinkled on them, and they were a bit thick and looked black, which was not appetizing at all. You guys eat it. Student AI said the dried shaved shrimps his mom made are delicious. He Ai-hong generously invited everyone to eat. No matter who in the dormitory brought back delicious food from home, they would take it out and share it with everyone. No one ate alone. Isn't it cataracts? How can things exposed to the sun be clean? Xia Tao has a sharp tongue and is not kind at all. She hits the nail on the head again. Sheng Guanqing had already stretched out her hand, but immediately retracted it. She could tolerate it if it tasted bad, but she couldn't stand it if it was dirty. He just has cataracts, he's not blind. How come he's dirty? Xia Tao, you're so disrespectful. He Ai-hong angrily accused him, asking how he could say that about an old man. Moreover, these sweet potato chips were AI Xinyuan's gift, and she would not allow them to be desecrated. AI Xinyuan's ducking cataracts are very serious. His eyes are almost completely white. Su Erfeng reminded her. That's a blind man. You retelling the truth. Why are you in such a hurry? You haven't even gotten married yet, and you're already covering up for her? Xia Tao responded sarcastically, without even looking at the sweet potato slices. Compared to these dirty shuts, the food made by Gone Defa's mother is simply the most delicious food in the world. She has become a picky eater now, and these things can no longer attract her. What nonsense are you talking about? AI Xinyuan and I have a pure revolutionary comradeship. He just gave me the sugar to thank me for my help. Don't say such things again. He Ai-hong blushed, but did not admit that she was dating AI Xinyuan. Dating is a major event in life. Her father said that she must bring him home to meet her parents and pass their assessment before they can confirm the relationship. So she has been avoiding AI Xinyuan's intimate actions and plans to consider this matter after graduation. However, she did have a good impression of AI Xinyuan. He was handsome, ambitious, poor but determined, and had so many shining points in him that she could learn from. She couldn't help but be moved. It's great to be single. You're escaping from the misery just in time. Xia Tao's words aroused He Ai-hong's interest, and she couldn't help asking, where did you get this from? Anyone with eyes can see that AI Xinyuan is the only one who is whole in his family. His blind mother, paralyzed father, and mentally slow brother are all unable to take care of themselves. Even if Dianmu marries him, she will be sucked dry and turned into a telephone pole. Which woman can withstand the torture of 4 blood-sucking worms in the family? Xia Tao sneered and told the cruel truth. Third update completed. Good night. Isn't there 3?
Su Erfeng in the yet?
AI Xinyuan is physically and mentally healthy, and he is a college student. He can't be considered a blood-sucking worm, right? Xia Tao glanced at her, picked up a small bag of sweet potato chips on the table and shook it, mocking her. When pursuing a girl, he couldn't even bear to give her a few more sweet potato chips. If he were to marry a selfish man like him, he would feel bad even if he ate a few more sweet potato vines. What else could he be but a blood-sucking worm? Student AI Xinyuan's family is in financial difficulty, and these few sweet potato chips are probably what he saved from his own mouth. The gift is small, but the sentiment is great. Xia Tao, you are going too far. He Ai-hong's tone was very serious. She felt that Xia Tao's words were too harsh. Poverty was only temporary. As long as one was good enough and willing to make progress, the future would definitely be bright. Are you sure that he will have a bright future? Yes, he will definitely have a bright future, but light needs fuel, and his light is burning the unlucky woman who married him. Even Dianmu can't bear the famine in his family if she marries him. He Ai-hong, do you think you can do it? Xia Tao seemed to have entered He Ai-hong's belly and said exactly what she was thinking. He I-hong's face changed and she argued, since we are husband and wife, we must be tolerant of his family, help each other and understand each other. Difficulties are temporary, and we will get through them. Who supports it? Wan Chichi couldn't help but ask. Of course, the couple supports it together. He I-hong answered affirmatively. A family cannot be supported by just two hands. It requires concerted efforts. Xia Tao sneered and opened her mouth to continue her venomous remarks, but was stopped by Wan Chichi. She asked, if you really date AI Xinyuan, who will take care of his parents and eldest brother after you get married? He I-hong blushed and spoke in a lower voice, but her tone was firm. Of course we will take care of him together. Xia Tao sneered and rolled her eyes. If you have something to say, just say it. Don't be sarcastic. He I-hong was unhappy. I'm laughing at you for being stupid. He has one blind, one paralyzed, and one stupid child. Even if they are taken care of 24 hours a day, it's still a struggle. Either they have to pay someone to take care of them, or one of the couple can stay at home to take care of them. The AI family can't afford it, so someone has to sacrifice their job and be a full-time nanny at home. I ask you, who among you will be the nanny? Xia Tao crossed her arms and looked at her mockingly. I personally prefer to hire a nanny. He I-hong's tone also became serious. She had never thought about these things before and was completely immersed in AI Xinyuan's sweet pursuit. Now that her roommate had laid her bare eyes, she suddenly realized that the real situation of the AI family was indeed quite bad, but she was not afraid of difficulties. As long as the couple worked together, they would definitely be able to overcome them. AI Xinyuan will definitely not agree. His family owes a lot of debts, and he has to send $5 of his monthly living allowance back home to pay off the debts. Su Erfing said, then let AI Xinyuan take care of it, and I'll lend a hand. He I-hong frowned and felt a little bit like giving up. Her father was paralyzed, her mother was blind, her brother was stupid, and she owed a lot of debts. It made her feel heavy in her heart. But she is not afraid of difficulties. She believes that she can overcome them if she grits her teeth. As long as the couple works together, they can achieve success. Xia Tao raised her eyebrows and looked at her with some surprise, but she wasn't that disappointed in her. At least she wasn't that stupid. What if AI Xinyuan asked you to take care of him at home? Absolutely not. I must put my work first. He I-hong's tone was very firm. She wanted to work in a new company after graduation to achieve great things and get promoted step by step. How could she possibly be a nanny at home? Not to mention that she wouldn't agree. Even if she agreed, her parents would beat her to death if they knew. Wan Chichi smiled and said, AI Xinyuan must also want to make a breakthrough in his career. One cannot do two things at once. If he is stuck with trivial matters at home, he will certainly not be able to focus on his work. Moreover, the tradition of China is that men are responsible for the outside world and women are responsible for the inside world. I don't think AI Xinyuan is someone who is willing to stay at home. The purpose of his marriage should be to protect him from the rear and support him in his career. Why are you being so euphemistic? You just want to marry a stupid woman from a wealthy family so that he can suck her blood easily. Xia Tao snorted, not being able to be tactful at all. Student AI is definitely not that kind of person. You have misunderstood him too deeply. He I-hong's face looked a little ugly. Although she was still defending AI Xinyuan, she was actually shaken in her heart. I'll go ask him. He I-hong is not the kind of person who wastes her time on internal conflicts. She plans to ask in a roundabout way to see what AI Xinyuan is thinking. You're stupid, but you won't admit it. You're the prey he's eyeing. Can he tell you the truth? He'll definitely use sweet words in front of you, and speak better than a song. Xia Tao mocked him and said, I'll take care of it. I'll treat you to a good show when the time comes. To breaking up marriages, she's very good at it and can definitely break up this couple. Don't mess around. AI Xinyuan and I are just ordinary classmates now. He I-hong was a little panicked, worried that Xia Tao would mess things up and she would be too embarrassed to go out. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Xia Tao patted her chest to assure him, but He I-hong became more worried. She had never seen the word moderation in Xia Tao. It's okay, I'll keep an eye on it. Wan Chichi comforted her in time, and He I-hong finally felt relieved. Xia Tao was very efficient. The next afternoon after school, when they had finished their meal in the cafeteria and were about to return to the dormitory, they were stopped by her. "Let's go to the theater." Hiahongmai's heart skipped a beat, and she began to feel panicky. A group of people went to the school's lotus pond. It was a bit chilly on a night in April, and not many people were walking by the pond. Xia Tao pulled them to hide behind the bushes, but after more than 10 minutes, nothing good happened.
Achoo.
"How long will it take?" Ruan Chichi sneezed and became impatient. Immediately, Xia Tao gritted her teeth. Darn, men are so slow in doing things. It turns out that they can't be trusted. "Here it comes." Su Erfeng shouted excitedly, and everyone immediately fell silent. Li Yuqin even covered her mouth, for she was afraid that she would be too excited and make a noise, which would affect the viewing of the show. Ai Xingyuan and another male classmate watched from afar. A light breeze blew over a faint aroma of wine, and Ai Xingyuan walked a little unsteadily, obviously drunk. "No, I feel dizzy. Please sit down for a while." The boy swayed his body and sat on a bench beside the lotus pond, right next to the bushes where Xia Tao and the others were hiding. "I feel dizzy too. I drank too much tonight." Ai Xingyuan shook his head and sat down as well. "You and the squad leader he from the electrical class are about to get married, right? You have good taste." Squad leader he's father is the director of our tail-cutting association. He is very capable. If you marry her, you will definitely have a bright future. The male classmate's tone was full of envy. Ai Xingyuan had always been a gentleman, but perhaps because he had been drinking, he looked smug at the moment. However, he still said modestly, "I mainly admire his intelligence and ability. It has nothing to do with her parents." Hiahong blushed behind the bushes and raised the corners of her mouth. "Forget it. We're alone here now. You don't need to say these things. Hiahong isn't ugly, but she's not pretty either. Her face is like a pig's kidney, and she's stern all the time. Marrying her is like marrying an old woman. We're brothers, so there's no need to say those empty words. With your family situation, you really should marry someone like Hiahong. She's ugly, but she comes from a wealthy family. She'll definitely be devoted to you. If you tell her to go east, she won't dare to go west." The male classmate talked a lot and was extremely disparaging of Hiahong. Hiahong was hiding behind the bushes. Her back teeth were almost broken. She was going to come back and settle the score with this jerk. "You can't say that. Although Ms. He is not very pretty, she is still very good." Ai Xingyuan was a little drunk. He still had some rationality and was still pretending to be sane. Hiahong's face changed, and her eyes showed disbelief. Yesterday, Ai Xingyuan praised her single eyelids for being beautiful, saying they were the most beautiful single eyelids in the world. He also praised her beautiful face, saying she was the prettiest among the girls in the class. Although she thought these words were too exaggerated, she was still very happy to hear them. But when she told others that she was average-looking, they said the truth comes out when one is drunk. Could this be what Ai Xingyuan really thinks? "He said you were ugly." Xia Tao stabbed a knife into her ear, fearing that the fire was not strong enough. Hiahong glared at her fiercely and gritted her teeth. "Which of the female students in our school is not outstanding? There are not many who have a family background as good as Hiahong's. You're going to have a wedding banquet after graduation, right? I wish you a bright future and a smooth career." The male classmate's tone became even more envious, and his words made Ai Xingyuan feel particularly proud. "That should be about the same. You can come to the wedding then." Ai Xingyuan did not deny that he was absolutely sure of taking down Hiahong. "Look, he's already treating you as his property before you even give in."
Xia Tao stabbed again.
Hiahong's face turned cold, and she was angry. She clearly hadn't agreed to Ai Xingyuan's proposal, but this man claimed to be her fiancé. How frivolous. The male classmate smiled and didn't agree because he knew he wouldn't be able to drink at the wedding. He glanced at the complacent Ai Xingyuan, then glanced at the bushes behind him, and deliberately asked, "After you get married, who'll take care of your parents and eldest brother?" Of course, it's Hiahong. The man works outside, and the woman works inside. Ai Xingyuan answered as a matter of course. Will Hei Hong agree to this? Women like to hear nice words and be coaxed. I can't just stay at home and work as a grown man. If I achieve success at work, she will be proud of it. Hei Hong is not someone who is easy to please, and her father doesn't have a good temper either. The male classmate said intentionally. I think she's easy to coax. She'll take my words seriously. As for her father, he'll be my father-in-law in the future. If he wants his daughter to live a good life, he must support me. Only if I'm successful at work can his daughter live a good life. In the end, Hei Hong is lucky to have a good father. Otherwise, with her looks and personality, it would be hard for her to marry. Getting drunk, lost his mind due to the flattery of his male classmates and couldn't help but speak out his true feelings. Hei Hong, who was lying behind the bushes, had a gloomy face, her fists clenched tightly, and veins bulged on the back of her hands. It turned out that all the nice words the man said were just to coax her. At this moment, Hei Hong was more angry than sad. Ai Xinyuan treated her like a fool. She now wished she could kill this man to quench her anger. Not only does he say you're stupid, he also wants to suck your blood, the blood of your parents, ugh. Xia Tao fanned the flames in order to create chaos. Thank you. Hei Hong suddenly thanked her. She was not an ungrateful person. Although Xia Tao had a sharp tongue, everything she said was for her own good. Fortunately, Xia Tao invited her to watch the show, otherwise she might really be deceived by Ai Xinyuan and become a stepping stone for his career success. Xia Tao was stunned for a moment, then turned her head away, looking a little awkward. Between the male classmate and Ai Xinyuan continued. You make it sound as if Hei Hong's family would listen to you obediently. What if she divorces you? The male classmate asked in a seductive way. You don't understand. Once a woman has given birth, she is like a tethered kite. Even if she flies up to the sky, as long as you pull the string, she will come back obediently. She can't fly far. Ai Xinyuan smiled with great pride. Hei Hong was the prey he had carefully selected, and he would never let her go until he became successful. The boy's face changed, and he clenched his fists. Darn it, this is too shameless. He couldn't act anymore. I really want to beat this jerk to death. But the crazy woman hasn't given any signal yet, so he has to continue acting, otherwise the crazy woman will really throw him on the mountain to starve and freeze. He is scared.
Go back.
Ai Xinyuan felt the wind was a bit cold and wanted to go back to the dormitory. No, I'm still dizzy. I need to sit for a while. The male classmate stood up halfway, then sat back down, holding his head and shouting that he was dizzy. Ai Xinyuan had no choice but to sit down. From the tone of your voice, it seems that you don't like Hei Hong at all? Are you just attracted by her family background? The male classmate's tone was a bit stiff. He really couldn't be polite to such a shameless person. How could I possibly like her with that look? If she didn't have a good father, I wouldn't even look at her for a second. As expected, people speak the truth when they are drunk, and every word Ai Xinyuan says comes from his heart. You are too shameless. You are an easy woman, and you still want to be a virtuous woman.
You are still a man. Bah.
I won't act anymore. The male classmate, unable to bear it any longer, stood up suddenly and started cursing at Ai Xinyuan, who looked stunned. Even if that crazy woman threw him onto the mountain, he wouldn't act anymore. What's wrong with you? Oh. Ai Xinyuan was sobered up, and before he could finish his words, he was hit in the face by the sole of a shoe. Hei Hong drew it. Who do you think you are? Your father is paralyzed, your mother is blind, and your brother is stupid. All of you in the family can't take care of yourself. I'm not blind, and I'm not stupid. How could I fall for someone like you? Hei Hong was almost furious. She could no longer hold it in. She took off her leather shoes and rushed over, cursing and beating him. Xia Tao curled her lips and didn't expose the truth in front of outsiders, giving Hei Hong some face. Ai Hong, listen to me? I was just joking. Ai Xinyuan covered his face and dodged, trying to make excuses. Please call me Hei Hong. I'm not that familiar with you. I only interacted with you a little more closely because of work needs. I didn't expect that it would cause misunderstandings to Ai. It's my fault. I shouldn't use common sense to speculate on the heart of a sinister villain. You don't have to come to me again in the future, and don't spread rumors outside. Otherwise, I won't be polite to you. I taught in a righteous and stern manner, with great momentum. He deliberately forced me to drink and tricked me into saying those things. Du Ziding, you despicable villain. How dare you harm me? Ai Xinyuan was completely sober. He quickly figured things out and glared at his male classmate. No wonder they didn't have much contact with each other normally, but were suddenly invited to drink by him. It was also because he hadn't eaten meat for a long time and couldn't resist the temptation of meat and wine. He drank too much and was tricked by this despicable guy. You only told the truth after you spilled it. It's obviously you who had evil intentions. Du Ziding is not afraid. He is strong and tall. If a fight really breaks out, 10 AI Xinyuans will not be his match. You are not a good person either. Hong slapped Ai Xinyuan with the sole of her shoe and glared at him. I just said she had a face like a pig kidney, and she will remember it for the rest of her life. I only said those things to trick him. Besides, if I hadn't acted well, would you have seen through this jerk's true face? If you really marry him, your whole family wouldn't be enough for him to suck blood from. Du Ziding cried out that he was innocent and even took credit for it. I'm not that stupid. Unlike you, I have to count my toes to add 7 and 8. Hong sneered and didn't appreciate this guy's kindness. Yes, you are good at studying and math, so how come you can't see Ai Xinyuan's sinister intentions? You need help from me who is not good at math, otherwise you will fall into the fire pit. Don't you understand me? I didn't agree at all. It was just his wishful thinking. Yes, he is willing to hold a wedding banquet with you after graduation. Do you want to be beaten too? Hong was so angry that she raised her shoes. Du Ziding shut up in dismay. The people around them stared at them with gossipy eyes. Except for Ai Xinyuan, his face was swollen because of Hong, and his glasses were taken off, so he couldn't see anything clearly. Do you know each other well? Xia Tao asked curiously. Du Ziding was not a random person because he and Hong were from the same hometown. He had come to the dormitory building to visit her before, but Hong was a little cold towards him, so Xia Tao thought they were just ordinary friends. But the two of them are so familiar with each other in quarreling, they are definitely not just ordinary friends. Not familiar. Hong. We live in the same building and my mom and her mom often play together.
Du Ziding.
Childhood sweetheart? Everyone asked in unison. No, don't talk nonsense. Hong denied it flatly. Du Ziding pursed his lips and whispered, we were engaged when we were children. You can't ignore the facts. Will you die if you don't say a few words? If you want to die, just tell me, and I'll grant your wish now. Was so angry that she raised her leather shoes to hit him, but Du Ziding anticipated her move and turned and ran away. Of one person running away and the other chasing is very interesting. Ai Xinyuan was almost biting his teeth. Darn Du Ziding, he was really good at hiding his true intentions. He actually had that kind of relationship with Hong. No wonder they set a trap for him and caused him to lose such a good candidate for wife, Hong. Are you still not leaving? Want to take a bath in the pool? Xia Tao glared at him, scolded him coldly, and pretended to push him into the lotus pond. Ai Xinyuan was so scared that he didn't even bother to pick up his glasses. He stumbled away, but after a few steps, he ran back and groped on the ground for his glasses. A pair of glasses costs more than 2 yuan and he has no money to buy them, so he must get the change back. Finally finding the broken glasses, Ai Xinyuan was so heartbroken that he couldn't breathe, but he didn't dare to do anything and walked away dejectedly. Hong also came back with a gloomy face and returned to the dormitory without saying a word.
Du Ziding Street.
She took out $10 from the drawer and stuffed it into Xia Tao's pocket. He didn't take my money. Xia Tao confiscated it, and Du Ziding paid for the meal out of his own pocket. At that time, she thought that this man had surrendered to her fist, but it turned out that he and Hong were old lovers. You two are really engaged as children? Then why are you still dating someone? Can't you just marry Du Ziding? Xia Tao asked gossipingly. There is absolutely no chance that he and I will ever get along. I have never passed any exams. He Hong looked down on Du Ziding. She didn't like men who were poor at studying. Du Ziding was in the same class with her in elementary school, junior high school, and high school. He always ranked last in exams, and was also very naughty. How could she like such a guy? What's more, she and Du Ziding are too familiar with each other. They played together when they were wearing open-crotch pants, and she has also seen this guy's little bird. She would never marry him no matter who she marries. I feel that you and Du Ziding are quite similar to me and my man, Li Yuqin said with a smile. Oh, yeah, you and your man were childhood sweethearts, and you used to play around a lot. Su Erfing joked with a smile. I never thought I would marry my man before. We were too familiar with each other. I even saw him wearing open-crotch pants. But in the end, I still married him, and now I am living a good life. Li Yuqin's expression was very gentle when she mentioned the man. He Hong's heart started beating fast. She and Stomachache also had a history of wearing open-crotch pants. Could it be that she would get it too?
Impossible.
She absolutely does not want to marry a fool who is a poor student. In fact, between husband and wife, career and family must be balanced. If the man has a good career, the woman has to take care of the family. If the woman has a good career, the man has to take care of the family. He Hong, you are very career-oriented. If you find a man with the same strong career ambition, you may not be happy after marriage. Yao Kersen seldom spoke in the dormitory. Even when watching the play just now, she didn't say a word, but now she couldn't help but give a few words of advice. Because she could see that Du Ziding liked He Hong, and this man had good character, and came from a family he knew well. In terms of personality and career, he was weaker than He Hong, so they were really a perfect match. I think so too. He Hong, you want to be an official. If there is no one to take care of you in the rear, how can you charge forward with peace of mind? Su Erfing also noticed it and thought Du Ziding was pretty good. I won't get married. I'll fight alone. He Hong said this angrily and went to bed without even washing her face. She will focus on her career from now on and will not force love. In the next few days, Ai Xinyuan came to the dormitory building every day to blow the loudspeaker. He Hong was so angry that she wanted to argue with him, but was stopped by Wan Qiqi. Don't bother with this kind of person, just watch me. She walked to the window and called down. Ai Xinyuan. Ai Xinyuan was delighted, thinking it was He Hong calling him, so he ran out quickly and looked up at the third floor. A basin of cold water was poured over him, soaking him all over. If you harass my classmates again, I'll throw foot washing water on you next time. Wan Qiqi stuck her head out and warned in a cold voice. If the foot washing water doesn't work, just use the underwear washing water. I just happened to have my period. Xia Tao said something even more vicious. Ai Xinyuan downstairs wanted to try harder, but he was too cold, and he was really afraid of being splashed with dirty water. These crazy women are really capable of doing this. After that, Ai Xinyuan never came to harass me again. He Hong thanked everyone for their help and invited everyone in the dormitory to a meal at the restaurant. On the weekend, Wan Qiqi went home and first went to Lu's house to pick up her son. After not seeing him for just a week, the little guy had gained a lot of weight. Fortunately, the little guy could walk by himself and walked very steadily, so he didn't need an adult to hold him. After returning home, she cooked a lot of dishes. Just when she was about to ask Lu Yi to deliver the dishes to Yin's house, Gao Shangjin came to the door with a bottle of wine in his hand. He looked a little gloomy and his eyes were dark. Excuse me, I want to go drink with Lao Lu. Is that okay? Gao Shangjin asked embarrassedly. He had no one to talk to about his distress. After much thought, he could only find the Lu couple. Okay, your Dr. Yin is not at home? She works the night shift, and I'm the only one at home. Wan Qiqi asked them to drink first, and she would just stir-fry some vegetables. Gao Shangjin was always smiling and rarely looked dejected. She was also curious about what happened in the Gao family. Could it be that the couple had love that night? Mr. Lu, I can't understand why my daughter wants to play with bones after I bought her so many dolls. After drinking a few glasses of wine, Gao Shangjin finally spoke. After he finished speaking, he sighed and started drinking again. The third update is completed. Good night. Just play with bones. Didn't you play with them when you were a kid? Lu Yi didn't react for a moment. He thought it was just a child playing with sheep bones and pig bones. All rural children have played with them before. Gao Shangjin was making a big fuss. It's not that bone,
Oh.
It's a human. After saying this, Gao Shangjin couldn't stop sighing. His eyebrows and eyes were stuck together with worry. His sweet and soft little girl is prettier than the dolls sold in department stores, so why does she like to play with cold bones? Lu Yi picked up a piece of duck meat and was about to put it into his mouth. When he heard this, he was so surprised that the duck meat dropped. He asked in surprise, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" Ambitious little daughter, very much. She was sweet, soft, cute, and a very well-behaved little girl. Every time he hugged her, he didn't dare to use force for fear of strangling her to death. This little girl looks timid, so it shouldn't be like that, right? I saw it with my own eyes, and Qianqian herself admitted it. Qianqian is the name of Gao Shangjin's daughter, Gao Qianqian. Most depressed was that his daughter didn't like the doll at all. The only reason she acted like she liked it was just to please him. He, an old father, could not accept that he was being fooled around by a 6-year-old girl. Then let's play. Lu Yi ate the meat with big mouthfuls and didn't think there was anything wrong with it.
You don't understand.
How can my Qianqian play with bones? She should like dolls, beautiful dresses, playing the piano, drawing, and dancing. How can she like bones? Gao Shangjin became more and more excited as he spoke. He originally had a beautiful idea that his son could take over his job as a soldier, or take over his father-in-law and daughter-in-law's job as a military doctor. That would all be great. The only thing he hopes for his daughter is that she can have an easier life in the future. Whether being a soldier or a military doctor, the work is too hard, and he can't bear to see his daughter suffer. You think it's good, but Qianqian doesn't like it. This is not normal. Why are you so excited? Lu Yi couldn't understand it. Children are not wooden people. They don't have to follow the preferences of adults. When you have a daughter, you will understand. Can you bear to let your daughter suffer? My Leah often works night shifts and often stands for 5 or 6 hours in an operation. It's too hard. I just hope Qianqian can have an easier life. Gao Shangjin's eyes turned red as he spoke. He felt sorry for his wife and had wanted to transfer her to the pharmacy so that she could have an easier job, but she didn't want to because she liked surgery. He couldn't do anything about his wife, but he could make up for it with his daughter. So every year, he bought her dolls and beautiful floral dresses in order to cultivate her love of beauty from an early age. When she grew up, she might engage in artistic work, which would be easier than being a doctor. But no matter how hard he tried, he still couldn't prevent it. Alas, if you do something you like, you won't feel tired no matter how hard it is. As parents, the last thing we should do is force our children to do something they don't like. Wan Qiqi placed the vegetables on the table and gave some advice. Gao Shangjin sighed. He understood the reason, but he was just a little depressed and wanted to find someone to talk to. How did you find out? Wan Qiqi was quite curious. Qianqian was a very clever little girl, and the box of bone toys was hidden very secretly. Moreover, the brother and sister were usually in Shanghai and only came here during holidays. In addition, Gao Shangjin is busy at work, leaving home early and returning late, so he should not have been discovered. This year during the Spring Festival, my family went back to my hometown to stay for a few days. Something happened, and we found out. Gao Shangjin spoke very concisely and only mentioned what happened in his hometown in one sentence. What happened? Did people from your hometown bully Dr. Yin? Lu Yi hit the nail on the head and guessed it right. Gao Shangjin drank a few glasses of wine and felt a little tipsy. He also had a lot to say in his heart, so he took advantage of the alcohol to say it all. It was a wonderful story with twists and turns, thrills, and a thrilling story. After listening to it, Lu Yi and Wan Qiqi both laughed out loud, and even the little kid joined in the laughter. As what happened, time goes back 3 months ago. As the new year is coming to an end, Gao Shangjin plans to accompany his wife and children back to Shanghai to celebrate the new year as usual. He can find time to visit his hometown later. But his parents called and said that Gao's father was not in good health and wanted to see his grandchildren. Gao Shangjin thought that his father was really dying, so he changed his itinerary and the family returned to his hometown in Xiangxi. It is not easy to go back to his home. He has to take a train to the county town first and then take a bus from the county town to the town. After arriving in the town, if he is lucky, he can get a ride on the ox cart or a tractor back to the village. If he is unlucky, he can only walk back. Of course, their family didn't have to walk. A comrade-in-arms named Gao Shangjin from the county's armed forces department drove them to the foot of the mountain. The mountain road was rugged and the car couldn't drive up, so they had to climb up. The locals are used to climbing and can climb up in an hour, but Leah and her children have never climbed before. It took them 3 hours to climb, and both children were exhausted. This is also one of the reasons why Gao Shangjin did not let his wife and children come back. The way home was too difficult, and he was reluctant to let his wife and children suffer. After arriving home, they found that Gao's father was in good health and could live at least another 30 years. Gao Shangjin was very angry and wanted to argue with his parents, but was persuaded by Leah. It's understandable that the elderly want to see their grandchildren, but it's wrong that we haven't been back for so many years.
Don't argue with them.
Leah knew that her husband had been caught in the middle all these years, and it was not easy. Now that he was back, they should spend the new year in peace. Gao Shangjin was so touched that he hugged his wife and said a lot of sweet words to her. Although Leah is aloof and quiet, she is very polite and sends money and gifts to her hometown every year. This time she brought back a lot of money and gifts, which were given to Gao Shangjin's parents, brothers, and nephews. However, her politeness did not gain gratitude from the Gao family, especially Gao Shangjin's parents. They were resentful of Leah, thinking that their most promising son was abducted by her and was almost becoming a live-in son-in-law, causing them to be laughed at by the villagers. Gao Shangjin's family came back on the 28th day of the lunar year. Until that day, everything was relatively peaceful. Although Gao's mother always assigned Leah to do chores such as washing dishes, sweeping the floor, and doing clothes, all the work was done by Gao Shangjin. Gao's mother felt sorry for her son, and her resentment towards Leah deepened. It accumulated until New Year's Eve. Gao's mother could hardly maintain her face and did not even look kindly upon her granddaughter. On the 30th, Leah did not stop from morning to night. Gao's mother only ordered her around, while Gao Shangjin's sister-in-law and brother's wife were resting nearby. Gao Shangjin was deliberately called away by his father to go to the mountain to visit the grave.
Xiangxi.
Visiting the graves is not only time-consuming but also physically demanding. It takes at least half a day. Moreover, according to local customs, men are allowed to visit the graves, and women are not qualified. So, Leah and her daughter stayed at home, while her son and Gao Shang went to visit the grave. Left at home, and Gao's mother ordered them around as much as she could, not even sparing the little girl Qian. Qian, go pour out this basin of water. Mother Gao ordered her granddaughter to pour water in a domineering manner, without even considering whether the little girl could do it. Gao Qian didn't want to fall, and she argued, "Grandma, I can't lift it, it's too heavy. You can't even do this little job, what's the use of a little girl like you? You're just eating and not working, you're just a money loser." Gao's mother's anger suddenly flared up. All the anger that she had been holding back for years was directed at her granddaughter. She forcefully put a large basin of water in Qian's hands. The little girl was very smart and dodged it lightly, causing a basin of water to fall to the ground with a bang, splashing all over Gao's mother. "You little girl, have you become so capable? You are just like your mother, not at all like a descendant of the Gao family." Gao's angry mother spoke without thinking and even grabbed her granddaughter and slapped her, who had never been beaten since she was a child, was stunned by the slap and burst into tears. Outside, heard her daughter's cry. She immediately put down the chicken and rushed over. Seeing the red slap marks on her daughter's fair face, she felt cold all over and pulled her daughter behind her. "Why are you taking it out on a child?" Leah looked at Gao's mother coldly. She had also come back when she and Gao Shangjin had just gotten married, but she did not have a good impression of her in-laws. Loving someone and loving their whole family was useless to her. Grandma called me a money loser and said I wasn't from the Gao family. Qian cried and complained. Look at your good daughter. She won't do any work. She's so lazy that she doesn't even want to grow hair. She's not as hardworking as our Gao family at all. Gao's mother cursed with gnashing teeth, pointing her finger at Leah, almost poking her eyes. Now that her wicked son is not at home, she must put an end to the arrogance of this city daughter-in-law. Who is she showing off to with that deadpan face all day long? My daughter is very good and hardworking. You want to work, right? Sure, Qian, go get mom's tools and let's get to work. Leah curled her lips slightly and did not argue with Gao's mother. She hates most is quarreling, wasting time on useless things, so she just gets down to work.
Oh.
Gao Qian's eyes lit up. She burst into laughter and actively ran to the house to get the tools. Leah glanced at Gao's mother and the sisters-in-law who were standing nearby watching the fun. Her eyes were particularly cold, which made them feel uneasy and not very good. Mom, I got it. Qian came running over carrying a small box. This box was Leah's toolbox. She carried it with her wherever she went. It could be used to save people but also to kill people. Of course, killing chickens is no problem. Come on, Mom will teach you anatomy today, and you will be my assistant. Qian nodded vigorously and agreed loudly. The women of the Gao family didn't understand what dissection was, nor did they know what was in the small box, but they felt creepy when they looked at Leah at that moment. Leah and her daughter went to the rice field outside. She had just bled the chicken, and it was lying on the ground motionless. Rice field refers to the open space in front of the house. It is generally used to dry rice in rural areas, so it is called rice field. All the women in Gao's family followed them out, wanting to see what the mother and daughter were going to do. There was a tattered square table on the rice field. Leah moved it over, placed the dead chicken and the box on the table, and then opened the box. A flash of cold light appeared, and in the box were several scalpels of different shapes. The women from the Gao family felt a pang in their hearts, and a chill ran down their backs. They even took a few steps back, fearing that Leah would pull a knife on them. Do you know why we have to cut the chicken's neck when killing it? Leah asked softly. Because there are blood vessels in the chicken's neck. If you cut the blood vessels and let the blood drain, the chicken will die. Gao Qian answered loudly, and even drew inferences from one example. It's the same with humans. If you cut the artery in the neck, the person will die.
Correct.
What other organs in the neck can be fatal? As Leah asked, she deftly dissected the chicken with a knife. Her hands were as graceful and agile as playing the piano, as if she was carving a great work of art. In a few seconds, the chicken was completely skinned, revealing its bloody body, with a whole piece of hairy chicken skin next to it. Stop it. That's not how you kill a chicken. You spendthrift woman. Why did our Gao family marry a jinx like you? Gao's mother cursed angrily and wanted to come over to rescue her chickens. Shut up. Leah turned her head away and scolded coldly. The scalpel in her hand reflected a terrifying bloody light under the sunlight. Gao's mother was so frightened that she shivered from head to toe and kept her mouth shut obediently. Mom, it's the cervical vertebrae. If you break your neck, you'll die. Gao Qian answered loudly that her grandfather had taught her everything, and she had a very good memory. Very good. Look, cut from here. Be steady, don't shake. Cut through with one stroke, avoiding the bone. Leah held the scalpel and lightly cut open the chicken. Each cut was made precisely between bones. The cuts were fast and accurate. The tip of the knife was stained with blood, which was dripping from it. Gao Qian was wearing a pink cotton-padded jacket and had two small buns with pink hair flowers on them. The little girl was fair and tender, like a glutinous rice dumpling, but at this moment she was staring at the bloody autopsy scene. Not only did he read with great interest, but he also asked questions eagerly. Mom, is a chicken's heart the same as a human's? It's different. A chicken's heart is not as complicated as a human heart. Mom, do chickens have brains? Of course, just a little. Leah answered patiently and cut the chicken head in half to show her daughter what a chicken's brain looked like. It's so small. Human brains are much bigger. Gao Qianqian watched it very seriously. She really loved watching anatomy. The mother and daughter made the women of the Gao family feel creepy. It was a sunny day, but they felt so cold. Could it be that the ancestors from the mountain had returned? Leah moved very skillfully. She cut the internal organs, bones, skin, and meat clearly and arranged them into 4 piles. Under the sunlight, the 4 piles of bloody things made the women of the Gao family lose their appetite and even feel like vomiting. Do you understand? Leah asked gently. I still don't quite understand it. Gao Qianqian answered truthfully. It's okay. Mom will show you again. After Leah finished speaking, she strode towards the chicken coop. Before the women of the Gao family could react, they saw her raise her knife and drain the chicken's blood. A minute ago is now dead. Who told you to kill the chicken?
Stop it.
Feeling sorry for the chickens, overcame her fear and rushed over to try to stop her. Don't move. The knife has no eyes. If it pierces your neck or heart, Huadua won't be able to save you. Leah smiled faintly, and the tip of the knife in her hand was pointed at Gao's mother intentionally or unintentionally. Blood was dripping from the tip of the knife, dripping onto the ground. Gao's mother didn't dare to move. She remembered everything the unlucky mother and daughter had just said to each other, cutting the neck, stabbing the heart, twisting the neck, all ways to kill people. Her eldest son said that this prodigal woman was a doctor, but she didn't believe it. Which doctor taught the child how to kill? This is clearly a killing god. Your mother-in-law, said a few words to you, and you killed all the chickens in the house. What kind of person are you? Our Gao family can't afford to support you like a bodhisattva. I will let Shangjin divorce you later. Gao's mother wanted to threaten with divorce, but Leah smiled and said calmly, Okay, you tell Gao Shangjin that I will kill the chicken before the divorce. She always completes what she starts. If her daughter doesn't understand something, she will teach her until she understands. Gao's mother watched Leah dissect a chicken in the same way, but her, stupid, granddaughter still didn't understand, so Leah went to catch another chicken. No matter how she scolded, Leah remained indifferent, and her knife was still fast and accurate. Gao's mother wanted to call other daughters-in-law to help subdue this spendthrift woman, but they couldn't. Others are also afraid of death. The knife has no eyes. If it stabs them, their deaths will be in vain. At this moment, the Gao family had completely lost the festive atmosphere of the new year and had turned into a murder scene. Gao's mother and daughters-in-law watched Leah slaughter all the chickens and ducks in the house for the whole morning, leaving not a single one. Has Grandpa ever dissected a pig for you? Leah asked. No, Mom, I want to see it. Gao Qianqian's eyes were shining, and she was extremely happy. Leah smiled and walked towards the pig pen. Stop, God, please strike her with lightning. She has killed all the people in the family. We can't live like this anymore. Gao's mother sat on the ground, beating her chest and stamping her feet, crying out to the sky. Aren't you and your sister-in-law and brother-in-law still alive and well? Leah spoke in a dissatisfied tone and swept her cold eyes over her sisters-in-law, scaring them so much that they all hid in the house, like a cat behind the door, not daring to come out. Although Gao's mother cried very sadly, Leah was unmoved and still slaughtered the remaining pig of the Gao family. She cut quickly and severed the pig's carotid artery with one stroke. Blood spurted out, covering the walls and the floor, like a murder scene. After the pig fell to the ground, Leah dragged the body out. Fortunately, the pig weighed only about 100 pounds and was not fat, so she dragged it out easily. Rinsing it with water, she began the dissection. Gao Shangjin on the mountain always felt a little uneasy. After visiting the grave, he walked down the mountain very fast and was the first to arrive home. When Gao's mother saw him, she cried out in agony, "Look at the good wife you married, but now she has ruined all the livestock in the house. Not a single one has survived. Oh my God, we can't live like this anymore. Grandma, there is another cow." Gao Qianqian seriously corrected her, saying that grandma always liked to exaggerate, which was a really bad habit. Gao Shongjin was given a headache by his mother's crying, and the first thing he saw was the slap mark on his daughter's face. His daughter's pretty little face was swollen. "Who hit me?" Gao Shongjin was furious. Who was the jerk who hit his daughter, whom he couldn't even bear to scold? "My grandmother beat me. She also called me a money loser and said I was not from the Gao family." "Dad, why am I not from the Gao family?" Gao Qianqian looked at her father with tears in her eyes and asked while sobbing. "Your grandma is talking nonsense. Don't listen to her." Gao Shongjin suppressed his anger and hugged his daughter with heartache. Looking at her from a closer distance, the slap marks on the little girl's face were even more shocking, and he really wanted to beat up a few people to vent his anger. "You definitely can't beat me. Even if I'm not your mother, I'm still his mother. You can't beat your sister-in-law or your brother's wife either. There are differences between men and women." So, as soon as Gao Shongjin's brothers returned home, they were beaten up by him, and Gao's father and mother couldn't pull them away. Gao Shongjin beat them like it was a game. The Gao family celebrated this spring festival with great fanfare. The happiest ones were the Gao family's children, who had never eaten so much meat before. There were also many smoked sausages and bacon on the fire pit, enough to eat for the whole year. The Gao family members all complained that Leah was too vicious, but Gao Shongjin said, "Qianqian, I couldn't bear to touch her finger, but you slapped her so hard. How could Leah not go crazy? She was kind enough and even left you a cow." His treasonous words almost sent Gao's father and mother away. Although they were very angry, Gao's parents did not dare to scold them anymore. Among the 3 sons in the family, only the second son, Gao Shongjin, was the most promising. If they really annoyed off the second son, who would they rely on when they get old? In the following days, the Gao family was very polite to Leah and her daughter. They didn't dare to ask them to do any work, and they even served the meal to them. It was during this trip back home that Gao Shongjin discovered his daughter's true hobby. He counseled himself for 3 months, but still couldn't figure it out, so he came to Lu Yi to drink. "Your parents are really terrible." After listening to this, Lu Yi felt disgusted with Gao Shongjin's parents. "It's not that great, but after all, she gave birth to me, so I'll just go back less often in the future." Gao Shongjin was not angry, and he did not have such deep feelings for his parents. He was the second child in the family and had not been well liked since he was a child. If he had not joined the army but stayed in his hometown, he would definitely still be the son his parents disliked the most. You should be thankful that Qianqian has a special hobby. If you were an ordinary little girl, you would only be bullied if you met parents like yours. Wan Qiqi told a heartbreaking fact. Gao Shongjin's expression changed. He had never thought about this before, and it sounded reasonable. Leah hadn't shown that skill that day. Both mother and daughter would have been bullied to death. Girls still have to be strong. After all, you can't protect Qianqian all her life. When she gets married in the future, if she encounters parents-in-law like your parents, she will definitely be bullied if she is soft-hearted. Wan Qiqi advised again. "I will never agree to Qianqian marrying into that kind of family." Gao Shongjin suddenly got angry. Why should his carefully raised daughter marry into that kind of family and suffer? No way. Dr. Yin was also raised with great care by her parents, but she still married you.
Lu Yi retorted.
Gao Shongjin was silent for a long time and finally figured it out. Lu Yi and his wife are right. The most important thing is that their daughter lives a good life. He should not impose his own preferences on his daughter. If I have a daughter in the future, I will support her in whatever she wants to do. Lu Yi made a bold statement that he wanted to be the most open-minded father in the world. Killing and arson are not acceptable. We must have principles. Wan Qiqi corrected. Of course, our daughter is definitely the most beautiful, smartest, and cutest person in the world. Lu Yi praised his daughter, who is not even there yet, to the sky. "I don't like what you said. My daughter Qianqian is also very pretty, smart, and cute. She is no worse than your daughter." Gao Shongjin was unhappy. He felt that his daughter was the most beautiful, smartest and cutest girl in the world. The daughter looks like her father. I'm much prettier than you. My Qian is just like my mother. Then my Chi is prettier than your cousin. Nonsense. I think my cousin is prettier than your cousin. You're talking nonsense. The fact is that my cousin is prettier than your cousin. Two men, aged 60 in total, were fighting fiercely over a little girl who hadn't even formed an egg cell yet. Ruan Chi rolled her eyes, too lazy to care about them, and fed the baby. The next day was the weekend, and Lu Jiafeng brought his girlfriend back. Ruan Chi's family went over for dinner and to meet their future brother and sister-in-law. Cui Xiongwei and Lu Yuanchao were also there. They are now classmates and often play together on weekends. They were almost at the Lu family's gate. Lu Yi put Potato Baby down and let him walk by himself. Little Potato ran happily with his short legs at a very fast speed into the yard and met Cui Xiongwei, who was sitting in the yard basking in the sun. Auntie, Little Potato ran over happily. He still remembered his beautiful aunt. Baby, you've grown so big? Haha, come and give Uncle a hug. Cui Xiongwei happily picked up Potato. He hadn't seen the little guy for several months. He had grown a lot and was growing really well. Auntie, Potato rubbed against him happily and kept barking. What did he call me? Cui Xiongwei didn't understand and asked Lu Yuanchao next to him. I call you Auntie. I told you that my Potato treats you as a woman. Lu Yuanchao smiled particularly wickedly. He was a little jealous at first because his nephew did not kiss him, his biological uncle, but kissed a stranger instead. Now, he felt balanced. Auntie! Potato cried out again, and his cry was particularly loud and clear. Cui Xiongwei understood this time, and the smile on his face froze instantly. He gritted his teeth and corrected. Call me Uncle. Auntie. Uncle. Auntie. The two stubborn guys, one big and one small, stared at each other, neither refusing to give in. Potato, call me Uncle. Lu Yuanchao also came to join in the fun, wanting to hear his nephew call him Uncle. Potato looked at him seriously and called out clearly, Uncle. Lu Yuanchao laughed out loud. Cui Xiongwei's face suddenly turned dark, and he was angry at himself for being fat. Third update completed. Good night. Ruan Chi found it funny and asked, Has Lu Jiafeng's partner arrived? I went shopping. As Lu Yuanchao answered, he picked up Little Potato, put it on his shoulders, and prepared to take him out for a ride. Lu Yi often plays this game with his son at home. Potato pats his uncle's head very skillfully and shouts happily, Come on, Uncle will take you out to play. Lu Yuanchao grinned. His little nephew was so sweet and cute, so funny. Play. The potato bounced up and down on his shoulder, making a particularly loud sound. Lu Disheng walked out of the house, and when he saw his grandson, he smiled so hard that his teeth showed. His dark face became kind, and he reached out his hands to hug the little guy.
No, play.
Potato Baby couldn't speak coherently yet, only 2 words at most. He twisted his sturdy little body to avoid his grandfather's hand. He wanted to ride his uncle's big horse to go out and play. Your uncle is not stable. Grandpa will take you out to play. Lu Disheng glared at his youngest son, signaling him to be sensible and give up his grandson. Your grandpa's arms and legs are old and not flexible, so your uncle will take you to play. Lu Yuanchao walked over with a smile, holding the Potato Baby on his shoulders with both hands, and the uncle and nephew ran out happily. Wait for me. Cui Xiongwei, who was angry about the fat man, chased after them, and soon the 2 adults and 1 child were far away. You jerk, come back and clean up. Lu Disheng cursed while gritting his teeth and stretched his old arms and legs. He felt pretty good about himself. When he played basketball yesterday, a group of young guys were no match for him. Through the house, Xiao Duan was preparing lunch in the kitchen. He was a good cook and had been in charge of Lu Disheng and Mo Qiufeng's meals for the past 2 years. It was already 10 o'clock in the morning, and Lu Jiafeng and the others had not returned yet. Lu Yuanchao and Cui Xiongwei took Potato Zai for a walk around the courtyard and came back. The little guy's mouth was bulging with biscuit crumbs around it, and his 2 fat paws each held a biscuit, and his pockets were also stuffed full. Someone else gave it to me. Lu Yuanchao grinned with joy. As an uncle, He finally enjoyed the blessing of his nephew and got a lot of food along the way. Little Potato is white and chubby, a pretty and adorable little cub that everyone wants to hug. Moreover, Potato has a sweet mouth and will obediently respond to whatever you call him. He makes everyone he meets on the road very happy, and they generously give him all kinds of food. Auntie, eat. Potato Baby kept stuffing the biscuits in his hand into Chui Xiongwei's mouth. Call me uncle. Chui Xiongwei continued to correct her persistently, saying that he was a real man and absolutely could not call her aunt.
Auntie.
Potato opened his big clear eyes, cried in a baby voice, and persistently stuffed the biscuit in his hand into Chui Xiongwei's mouth. Were full of milk flavor and tasted very good. Chui Xiongwei liked them very much. He looked at the white and cute little potatoes, sighed helplessly, and accepted the title of Auntie. Potato is still small, so it is normal to call it wrong. Wait until it grows up a little and correct it, and it will definitely be corrected. Chui Xiongwei comforted himself and soon felt better. He happily enjoyed the gift from his son. The cookies were really delicious. Potato, where's mine? Lu Yuanchao was jealous and opened his mouth wide waiting for his nephew to feed him. Potato Baby tilted his head, looked at his uncle for a few times, and stuffed the biscuit in his other hand into his hand.
Good.
Lu Yuanchao ate the biscuits happily, with his mouth almost stretched to his ears.
Dad.
Potato turned his body and opened his arms towards Lu Yi. Lu Yi took it and ate the biscuits his son gave him. Then it was Wan Qiqi, and then Lu Disheng, without leaving any behind. Actually, Lu Disheng doesn't like sweets, but since his grandson gave him these, he ate them with gusto. He was reluctant to finish them all at once, so he nibbled on them bit by bit, eating more gracefully than a woman. Bai Fengshou appeared at the door holding a bag. He had just returned to his hometown and brought some local specialties and some millet cakes for Lu Disheng. Uncle Lu, this is millet cake made by my family. Bai Fengshou was very respectful. According to the seniority on Mo Qiufeng's side, he should call Lu Disheng grandpa, but if according to the seniority on Wan Qiqi's side, he should call him uncle. Mo Qiufeng told him to just call him uncle, no need to call him grandpa. Haha, I'm craving this. Would you like to have Fengshou with me? Lu Disheng accepted the millet cake and asked Xiao Duan to fry it for him. No, my grandma has cooked dinner and will eat it when I get home. Bai Fengshou politely declined and said to Wan Qiqi, I also brought some baba for you. I will send it to you later. No, I'll get it later. How's your work going? Wan Qiqi asked with concern, saying that they hadn't seen each other for a while. It's okay. My boss told me to go on a business trip in a while, but I don't know where I'm going. Bai Fengshou at this moment is completely different from before. He is now confident and sunny, and his previous timidity and inferiority have completely disappeared from him. His antique craftsmanship became more and more mature, and he was valued in the unit. His leaders and colleagues valued him very much. Bai Fengshou felt his own value. Although he was still a landlord, he could now create value for the country, and he was a useful person. Work hard, and once you settle down and get married, your life will get better and better. Lu Disheng said with a smile. I am still focusing on work and not worrying about personal issues. Bai Fengshou was a little shy, but his tone was firm. He was not considering marriage for the time being and would wait until his career was more successful. We're back. Lu Jiefeng shouted from a distance. His voice was particularly loud today, so loud that the whole compound could hear it. I'm back from liberation. Is this girl your girlfriend? The neighbors were all alarmed and ran out to see what was happening. They were all quite surprised to see the young man leading a beautiful, well-educated girl back. Yes, my boyfriend is buying an engineer. Lu Jiefeng puffed out his chest, prouder than a crowing rooster. In fact, he wanted to say that he was a radio expert, but Buying asked him to be low-key, so he could only say engineer. Buying smiled politely at the neighbors. She is about 165 centimeters tall, with short hair, fair skin, delicate features, and a pretty face. She is not particularly beautiful, but has a scholarly air. This girl exudes bookishness from head to toe, and you can tell at first glance that she is a rational and introverted intellectual. You are already an engineer at such a young age. It is true that women hold up half the sky. It is a blessing for you to be liberated. The neighbors were all happy for Lu Jiefeng and looked at Bai Ying in a different light. Of course. I have always been blessed. Lu Jiefeng was very proud. He thought so too. Now he even feels that he was so blind before. How could he think that a shallow and vain woman like Su Lina was good and even regarded that kind of woman as a treasure? Fortunately, he went to the frontier to broaden his horizons and found such a smart and capable partner like Bai Ying. Keep a low profile. Bai Ying reminded him in a low voice, and Lu Jiefeng immediately stopped smiling and turned serious. In addition, he looked quite dignified in his military uniform. Wan Qiqi twitched her lips. It was true that Lu Jiefeng made up for what he lacked. He had no brains, but the person he found was quite smart. Neighbors, Bai Ying and Lu Jiefeng returned home. When Lu Disheng saw them, he went back to sit in the living room. He had to act like an elder. Hello, Uncle Lu. Hello, brother and sister-in-law. After Bai Ying entered the house, he greeted everyone one by one and even gave little Potato a red envelope, which was very polite. Okay, Xiaobi, please sit down. Lu Disheng always had a smile on his face, because if he didn't smile, his face would look dark, and he was afraid of scaring his future daughter-in-law. Wan Qiqi made some tea, and Bai Ying stood up and took it with both hands. Bai Ying was not very good at speaking, so Lu Disheng asked all the questions, and she answered them. Your father and I have known each other for decades. I never thought that you and Jiefeng would get along so well. It's really a rare fate, Lu Disheng said with a smile. My dad said the same thing. Bai Ying couldn't help but curl the corners of his mouth, and a smile appeared in his eyes. Her father first found out about Lu Jiefeng's identity. He was actually against it because he disliked Lu Jiefeng for being too stupid and a greenhorn. However, her father could never make decisions for her, so the old man just made a fuss for a while and finally agreed. Lu Disheng got such a good deal. Stupid was the nickname her father gave to Uncle Lu, and he also said that Lu Jiefeng was also a stupid person, so she married into a stupid family. Dad, Uncle Bai said your nickname is Bongchui, is that true? Lu Jiefeng asked curiously. He and his future father-in-law had been getting along very well since they had a drink together. His father-in-law, under the influence of alcohol, told him many embarrassing stories of the old man in the past, which made him very happy. No, you heard it wrong. Bai Ying glanced at him. You heard it right, your dad said that to me when we were drinking, and he even called me a little idiot. Lu Jiefeng was very honest and told all the secrets he had with his future father-in-law while they were drinking. Haha, stupid, this nickname really fits your personality. Cui Xiongwei suddenly burst into laughter, and laughed so hard that tears came out. Lu Yuanchao didn't want to laugh at first, but seeing him laughing so happily, he couldn't help but laughed along. Potato Baby looked at his aunt, and then at his uncle. Although he didn't know what they were laughing at, he laughed along with them. The smile on Lu Disheng's face gradually disappeared. He gritted his teeth and glared at the three idiots, two of whom were his own children. Lu Jiefeng touched his nose, then realized what was happening belatedly and muttered, I think a mallet is good. If you don't have one, you won't be able to wash clothes clean. Shut up. Unable to bear it any longer, glared at him, and Lu Jiefeng immediately shut up and said nothing. Uncle Lu, I heard that you like to eat fish. These dried fish are smoked by my mother. They taste very good. Bai Ying changed the subject. She was afraid that Lu Disheng would explode if they continued talking about Bongchui. Her father said that her future father-in-law was a powder keg that could explode at any time, but he was also a good person. He was simple-minded and easy to deal with. Thank your mom for me. Xiaobi, you are so smart and capable. Why did you choose Jiefeng? Lu Disheng asked directly. After meeting Bai Ying in person, he felt that his stupid son was not worthy of her. In the past, I thought that maybe Bai Ying lacked some appearance flaws, so she chose his stupid son. But now this girl is very pretty, has a good family background and abilities, and there are many outstanding young men for her to choose from. There is really no need for her to marry his stupid son. What's wrong with me? It means I'm attractive. Lu Jiefeng said angrily. You have the charm of a mallet. Lu Disheng snorted coldly. He was not a fool, but his stupid son was the real fool. Banger. Potato, who was standing on a stool, listened very carefully, then suddenly shouted loudly. Lu Yuan, who was still sitting next to him, slapped him and shouted, "Stupid." He patted Cui Xiongwei, who was sitting on the other side. "Stupid. The pronunciation is clear and the pronunciation is very accurate."
Petato, no.
Wan Chichi picked up the little guy and quickly corrected him. Otherwise this jerk would call everyone he saw a jerk a fool. "Mom, you're stupid," Baby Potato shouted happily. He didn't know what bang chui meant, but since his grandfather and uncle were talking about it, he learned it. "I beat you like a club." Wan Chichi slapped Zai Zai hard on the butt. The jerk was disobedient, so he was beaten. Potato Baby pursed his lips, tears flashing in his big eyes, and he didn't dare to say anything about idiot anymore. Children don't understand anything. Just talk to them and reason with them. There's no need to hit them so hard. Lu Disheng felt so distressed watching this. It hurt his heart to see his grandson being beaten. "I am your biological mother. I cannot be killed." Wan Chichi replied lightly that the old man was indeed not suitable to take care of grandchildren. Lu Disheng didn't care about his son, but wanted to interfere in every detail of his grandson's affairs. Buying smiled. She liked Wan Chichi's personality, and it would definitely be pleasant to get along with her. Was settled thanks to Potato's interference. Seeing that his silly son was much more obedient in front of Bai Ying than in front of him, Lu Disheng felt a little jealous, but still relieved. With the ready-made example of Wan Chichi and Lu Yi, Lu Disheng now feels that it would be a good idea to marry a daughter-in-law who can control his son. The eldest son used to be crazy, but he has become much more normal since he got married, and their relationship between father and son has also improved a lot. The second son is silly and simple, but he has a smart and capable wife to help him, which is pretty good. "You are both not young anymore. Isn't it time to file a marriage report?" After Lu Disheng felt relieved, he immediately urged the marriage. "There is one thing I need to make clear to you in advance. My health is not very good, and I may have trouble having children. I will take medicine to regulate my condition after we get married, but I cannot guarantee the results." Buying spoke in a very serious tone. Lu Jiefeng on the side kept winking at her, but she pretended not to see it. Her parents also told her not to tell anyone, and to wait until after marriage and take medicine to slowly recuperate. Maybe she could get better, and if that didn't work, she could tell anyone else. She knew that her parents were worried that after Lu Disheng found out, he would oppose her and Lu Jiefeng being together. Even if they opposed, it was understandable. But marriage was a matter between her and Lu Jiefeng, and it was useless for Lu Disheng to object. But she had to say what she needed to say. She didn't want to have to face Lu Disheng's urging to have a baby after marriage. It was very annoying. The smile on Lu Disheng's face froze, and he asked, "What did the doctor say?" "What's wrong?" "I was born prematurely and have been weak since childhood. My parents raised me with great difficulty. The doctor didn't say that I would never be able to give birth. I just need to be nursed back to health." "Uncle Lu, don't be too pessimistic. There is a 50% chance that I can recover. There is still great hope." Bai Ying is quite confident in herself. She likes children, so she will actively cooperate with the doctor and exercise. The result will definitely not be too bad. Just like when she was a child, everyone said she couldn't be raised, but she still grew up stumbling and growing up, and she is doing well. Lu Disheng forced a smile, but his heart was heavy. How much hope can there be with 50%? He is not that easy to appease. And when the doctor said 50%, he was largely comforting the patient. In fact, it might not even be 50%. Lu Disheng's joy was instantly frozen. He had originally thought that he would be able to hold his grandson in his arms next year, but his joy was in vain. He couldn't help asking, "Aren't you afraid that I will object to you two being together if you tell me this?" "What's the point of you objecting? It's not you who's getting married, it's me who's getting married." Lu Jiefeng retorted carelessly. It was him who was getting married. "Shut up." Lu Disheng took out all his anger on his silly son. Lu Jiefeng wanted to argue a few more words, but after Bai Ying looked at him, he shut up obediently. "Uncle Lu, I'm telling you this now because I don't want to deceive you, and I'm also telling you the truth in advance so that you don't have too high hopes and get disappointed. Besides, as Jiefeng said, marriage is a matter between the two of us, and your objection is useless. Jiefeng and I are already adults, and we have the freedom to marry, which is granted by law. Bai spoke calmly, and without any inferiority complex. Wan Qiqi admired her confidence very much. Even if a woman cannot give birth to children, she still has the freedom to have a normal marriage and love. As long as she makes it clear to the other party and does not hide anything, there is no need to feel inferior, and she should not endure humiliation from others because of this. Just like what happened to Sang Qingfeng in the past. It was clearly the man's problem, but due to the backward medical technology of the Township Health Center, a common gynecological inflammation was diagnosed as infertility. As a result, Sang Qingfeng was branded as a barren woman for many years. If it weren't for her strong character, she might have been forced to death. You guys have so many ideas. Why are you asking me? Lu Disheng was a little angry and said something angrily. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. You don't have to make the decision.
Being corrected.
Girls in science and engineering cannot tolerate ambiguity in their use of words. They must be precise. Lu Disheng became even more upset. He seemed to see the shadow of Wan Qiqi in Bai. The boss and Wan Qiqi had made him angry in the same way back then. Dad, medicine is very advanced now. There won't be any big problem. Wan Qiqi comforted. After Bai gets married, the medicinal herbs in her space will definitely be able to be used properly. Lu Disheng forced a smile and was in no mood to chat anymore. It was time for dinner, and Xiao Duan had already prepared a large table of dishes that were all delicious and beautiful. Everyone enjoyed the meal very much except Lu Disheng, who had no appetite at all. After dinner, Lu Jiefeng sent Bai back to the guest house, and they would go back to school together tomorrow. After they left, Lu Disheng no longer concealed his feelings and sighed. Qiqi, do you think this Xiaobi is looking for Jiefeng on purpose? Lu Disheng has some conspiracy theories. Bai is good in everything except that she can't have children. Could it be that this is the reason why she chose a stupid son? That's really not necessary. Bai isn't that kind of person. Besides, she just has difficulty in giving birth, not that she can't.
Don't think too much about it.
Wan Qiqi understood what he meant. She could understand that Lu Disheng still had old ideas in his heart. When Lu Yi came to visit him, he was furious. Now it was indeed a bit difficult for him to accept a daughter-in-law who had difficulty conceiving. Lu Disheng sighed again. Xiao Bai is a good girl. Why doesn't she have a good body? Oh, if she had a healthy body, she would have joined the army, and my brother wouldn't have met her. Who was playing with potatoes shouted. Yes, this is called fate. Cui Xiongwei was also playing with Zai Zai and joined in loudly. You know nothing. Lu Disheng was in a bad mood. These two idiots knew nothing and couldn't understand his feelings at all. Why don't I understand? It's just about carrying on the family line. The Lu family still has me. I'll find a partner who can give birth to 7 or 8 children for you. Even riding a horse can crush you. Lu Yuanchao snorted. He was not the Lu Yuanchao of the past. He was very smart now and knew everything. Lu Disheng was so angry that he laughed, pointing outside and said, Why don't you bring your partner home? You are already 21 years old. Where is your partner? Why rush? I'll bring it back to you sooner or later. Although Lu Yuanchao felt guilty, he still stiffened his neck and spoke even louder. Lu Disheng sneered and was too lazy to pay any more attention to these two idiots. Lu Jiefeng came back, and Lu Disheng glared at him without giving him a good look. Bai and I are planning to get married in the second half of the year. Lu Jiefeng said loudly. Lu Disheng had a sullen face and said nothing. Lu Jiefeng didn't care about him. Since he didn't say anything, it meant he agreed. If Bai really can't give birth to a child, can you live with her forever? You are still young and immature. It is difficult for a family to survive for a long time without children. Lu Disheng advised earnestly that he did not dislike Bai, but was stating the truth. Children are the important component of maintaining a family. A couple may be very sweet when they first get married, but no matter how good their feelings are, they will fade over time. Only by raising children together can a couple become closer. He was worried that Lu Jiefeng and Bai would not be together for long. Instead of getting divorced in the future, it would be better to think it over now and not get married impulsively. If there is no such thing, then there is no such thing. Who can predict the future? Why think so long-term? Just live your life well now. Lu Jiefeng was a carefree person and didn't think so deeply. Anyway, he and Buying had a good relationship now, and they would definitely not break up. It's not so important whether you have a child or not. It's better if you have one, but it doesn't matter if you don't. You have potatoes at home anyway, so if you want to play with the child, just find the potatoes to play with. What you said is irresponsible. Life is not like playing house. We must consider long-term issues. Lu Disheng was still rambling on and on when he was interrupted by Lu Jiefeng. When you married my mother, you thought long-term and had 2 children, but you still broke up. That's right. You and eldest brother's mother broke up, didn't you? Lu Yuanchao chimed in. Wow, Uncle Lu, you broke up twice.
Qui Xiongwei concluded in surprise.
Break up. Potato Baby now loves to learn to speak, and immediately learned a sentence loudly. Wan Chichi turned her back and smiled. Although the 3 idiots were naive, they were telling the truth. Who knows what the future will be like, so just live in the present. Lu Disheng gritted his teeth, sulked for a while, then suddenly stood up and said angrily, I don't care anymore. They are all rebelling against the sky. They deserve to be punished. Dad, how can you just ignore it? We still have to meet Bai Ying's parents, and we have to hold the wedding banquet. You have to take care of all these. Lu Jiefeng yelled. The most important thing is that he has no money and needs sponsorship from the old man, otherwise the wedding cannot be held. The corners of Lu Disheng's mouth rose slightly. He knew that this family couldn't do without him. He had to worry about everything. Although Lu Disheng was reluctant about Bai Ying and Lu Jiefeng's marriage, he finally gave up his objection. After all, it was useless for him to object. Now, he just hoped that Bai Ying could take medicine to get well, even if she had the baby a few years later. Time passed quickly, and it was May in a blink of an eye. The temperature was getting higher and higher, and some people on the street had already changed into long skirts. Director Yang and Director Ma from 759 leaked urine 12 times a day, more punctual than an alarm clock. They finally couldn't bear it anymore and returned to the capital in disgrace. Pei Yuan and Director Mu resumed their original positions. Groups A and B also returned to normal. Xia Tao received the mission, which was also her first independent mission. She was to escort a cultural relic expert to Hong Kong and ensure his safety along the way. This escort mission is not complicated. The cultural relic expert is going to Hong Kong to repair a precious yuan blue and white porcelain. Xia Tao only needs to ensure the expert's safety on the journey and in Hong Kong. The workers, peasants and soldiers students of their class will graduate in June. The last 2 months of courses will be much easier. During the 2 years, some students will be sent back. Those who can persevere to the end are diligent and hardworking and have learned real skills. After graduation, they will return to their original units or hometowns to make contributions. The principle for workers, peasants, and soldier students is that you return to where you came from after graduation. There are also some people whose families have connections, and they use their connections early on to try to stay in Tanzhou or go to other cities. Some students who perform particularly well will be recommended by their teachers to large companies. Such students are rare, and there may be only 1 or 2 in a class. Most of the students have to return to their original places. For example, He Aihong and Li Yuqin will return to their original units. However, they were workers before, but after returning, they became cadres. Their salaries and benefits have increased, and their development prospects are also broader. Su Erfeng originally had to return to her hometown in the county, but she and comrade Xiao Chao were dating, and they definitely couldn't live apart. Xiao Chao found a job for her in Tanzhou, and she started working there after graduation. Sheng Guanqing, Xia Tao, and Wan Qiqi are now all employees of 759, but Sheng Guanqing's health has not yet recovered to its peak, so he is temporarily doing clerical work. Yao Kersen is a year younger than them and will graduate next year. If she cannot find an accepting unit in Tanzhou, she will have to return to her ex-husband's hometown in the county to arrange a job. Xia Tao's escort mission is in early June, so she can stay in school for a while. Ever since Little Potato died, Wan Chi-Chi has not been a day student and goes home once a week. Tudo has Manzai's family and Lu Dishing and the others to take care of her. She is having so much fun that she has no time to think about her mother. Wan Chi-Chi is also happy and relaxed. It was Su Erfeng's birthday, and she wanted to treat her roommates to a good meal to thank them for their care over the past 2 years. It's boring to go to a restaurant. Let's go to the cafeteria, get a few dishes, some peanuts and snacks, and a bottle of wine. We can drink and chat in the dormitory. It will be more fun than in a restaurant. Li Yuqin suggested. It's good to drink in the dormitory. When you're drunk, you can lie on the bed and feel so comfortable. Xia Tao clapped her hands on the table in agreement and said that she would sponsor the wine. After that, she pulled out a box from under the bed, opened it, and saw that it was filled with Erguotu, Shaoyang Daku, Kuaijishan yellow wine, Baisha wine, beer, etc. White, yellow, red, beer, whatever you want to drink, just get it yourself. Xia Tao generously placed the box on the table, enough for everyone in the dormitory to drink. You actually put so much alcohol in the dormitory? Hei Hong widened her eyes, unable to believe it. It was outrageous that so much alcohol was hidden right under her eyes. Would you like to drink? Xia Tao rolled her eyes and grumbled in annoyance. Drink, I want both white and red. Hei Hong picked 2 bottles, Baisha wine and red wine, because she thought these 2 bottles were the most expensive and she must drink good wine. I'll sponsor the cake, said Shang Guanqing. Go back and ask Fatty Ding for some cakes. Then I'll serve the braised beef. Wan Chi-Chi said with a smile. I serve spiced dried tofu and peanuts.
Liu Qin.
I'll bundle the chickens. Hei Hong. I'll serve the pig's head. Yao Qian said with a smile. Don't worry about it, I'll buy it. I've been eating your food for the past 2 years. Now that I'm about to graduate, give me a chance to treat you guys, okay? Su Erfeng was a little anxious. She had agreed to treat everyone, but everyone rushed to buy things. It's not like we won't see each other anymore after graduation. Chi-Chi and the others are in Tanzhou. I'm in Hengqin, and Ihong is in Jucheng, which is not far from Tanzhou. There will be plenty of opportunities for you to treat us in the future. By the way, we will also come to your wedding.
Liu Qin Zhuka.
That's right, there are plenty of opportunities. It's settled today. You're not without work. Go to the cafeteria and get food. Order less food, or you won't be able to finish it. Hei Hong showed her authority as a squad leader, and after she finished speaking, she shook her hands vigorously to indicate that she had made the decision. We've been classmates for 2 years, and today you sound the most comfortable speaking in an official tone. Xia Tao made a joke, and Hei Hong rolled her eyes at her. She never spoke in official language. Su Erfeng did not insist any longer. There would indeed be opportunities in the future, and she would just remember the friendship of her classmates in her heart. Today, only 2 in the afternoon. After class, everyone went their separate ways and ran out to buy things. Su Erfeng also got a lot of food in the cafeteria, including braised pork, fried bacon, fried hairtail, etc., all of which were staple dishes, plus 2 large pots of rice. It was getting dark and everyone came back with delicious food. Everyone bought a lot. In addition to the braised beef and soy sauce, Wan Chi-Chi also fried a box of spicy dried fish in the restaurant. Yao Qian had a pound of pork head, and Hei Hong had a full box of chicken. In addition, the table was full of peanuts, spiced dried tofu, cakes, etc. Bunch of chicken, super delicious. It's so rich. My family doesn't even have so many dishes during the Chinese New Year. Su Erfeng felt warm in her heart. This was the most grand birthday she had ever had. The days to come will definitely get better and better. Let's have a drink first, and let the birthday boy choose the wine. Wan Chi-Chi said with a smile.
Red, right?
I saw foreigners in movies all drink red wine. Let's be fashionable today. Su Erfeng picked a bottle of red wine. The school often shows movies on the playground on weekends, including both domestic and foreign films. Watching movies is also one of the students' favorite entertainment activities on weekends. She poured red wine for everyone, raised her glass, and said sincerely, "Thank you for taking care of me over the past 2 years. I hope that we can all have smooth sailing in our careers. move to a higher level, and become the best in our respective industries. That's a must. Come on, cheers. Xia Tao clinked glasses with her generously, drank it all in one gulp, and then switched to Shaoyang Daku. She liked drinking white wine. He Aihong switched to Baisha wine, Li Yuqin drank beer, and the rest drank red wine. This red wine is so sour. Why do foreigners like to drink it so much? Su Erfing took a few sips of red wine, and felt that it was not very good. It was not as good as the glutinous rice wine she brewed herself. Foreigners like to eat steak with blood on it. Their tongues are different from ours.
Drink this.
Xia Tao handed over the Shaoyang Daku. As everyone ate and drank, they gradually got drunk and talked more and more. Many things that they usually didn't dare to say were said while they were drunk. I have something I've always wanted to ask you, Xian. Are you and Director Zhong really together? Li Yuqin drank the beer in the glass in one gulp and asked with drunken eyes. There were rumors in the school, but no one saw the two of them together, and she felt more itchy than a cat scratching. Well, we'll get married after graduation. Yao Kersen nodded. She was also a little tipsy, her cheeks were rosy and her eyes were watery. Director Zhong is already in his 40s, 20 years older than you. Isn't he a bit old? Li Yuqin found it unbelievable. To put it bluntly, he could be Yao Qian's father. Yao Kersen smiled and said, I think he is a good person. He is knowledgeable, well-mannered, and humorous. He taught me a lot of things that I couldn't learn in school. Most importantly, he was able to arrange a job for me in Tanzhou. Director Zhong is indeed a nice person, but his children are all grown up. How will you get along with them after you marry him? If you have another child, he will be so old as his brothers and sisters. Will he be bullied? Li Yuqin still couldn't understand. She already had some opinions about Yao Qian, thinking she was too cruel to abandon even her own child. Now Yao Qian was going to marry a man who could be a father. In fact, she felt a little contempt for her. No wonder that the rumors in school were so bad, saying that Yao Kersen was frivolous and vain, and would do anything to climb up. She slept her way into university, and after arriving at school she continued to sleep with older men in order to get a good job after graduation. Old Zhong's children are all married and have their own families. They have nothing to do with me, and I don't plan to have any more children. Yao Kersen took a big sip of wine. Her face turned redder, but her eyes became brighter. She laughed at herself and asked, You look down on me, don't you?
No.
No, I didn't say that. Li Yuqin was hit in the heart and felt a little panicked. It's normal for people to look down on me. I really want to climb up by any means necessary. I want to climb to the top so that those people can't reach me and have to curry favor with me. Then I will step on them hard and make them regret everything they have done to me. Yao Kersen said this with gritted teeth, with deep resentment in her eyes. She has no capital but a pretty body, which is the only capital she can use. She has heard all the gossips, but she doesn't care. When she succeeds, those who gossip about her will have to curry favor with her. No one will remember her dark history anymore. Since ancient times, people have laughed at the poor but not at easy-souled women. Why should she care? She poured another glass of white wine and drank it sip after sip. Ruan Chichi served her some food and handed it to her. Eat something to fill your stomach, otherwise it will hurt your stomach. Thanks. Yao Kersen took the food and started eating slowly. Were you forced to marry your ex-husband? Su Erfing asked. There were also educated youth in her hometown, but they didn't have a good life. The male educated youth were okay, as they just had to work in the wind and sun every day. The female educated youth not only had to work, but were also harassed by the men in the village, and they didn't dare to sleep too deeply at night. The customs in Su Erfing's hometown were slightly better. Those men only dared to harass her, but did not dare to do anything substantial. She heard from others that some female educated youth in other villages were used, and some even jumped into the river. There were also beautiful female educated youth who were bullied by brigade cadres and commune cadres. There were many dirty things in the village. In order to protect themselves, some female educated youth would marry village men and seek shelter. Su Erfing guessed that Yao Kersen might be in the same situation. It can't be said that he was forced. My ex-father-in-law had his eyes on me at the time. He was the team leader and a local tyrant in the village. There were female educated youth who had been harmed by him before. I heard from the villagers that this old rogue had his eyes on me and forced me to submit in both overt and covert ways. If I didn't agree, he would assign me the dirtiest and hardest work. Yao Kersen took a sip of wine and sneered. At that time, there were only two options before me. Either I surrender to this old rogue, or I do the hardest and dirtiest work every day until I die of exhaustion. I didn't want to choose either of these two options, so I took the third option. I took the initiative to charm the son of the old gangster. He stole the household registration book and official seal of the family. We went to the commune to get the certificate. When the old gangster found out, he was furious, but there was nothing he could do. Although he was shameless, he still followed the moral principles and would not even bully his daughter-in-law. The commune doesn't care about this old rogue? He Hong asked angrily. Do you think the commune cadres are good people? They did no less immoral things than the old hooligans. No one saved me. I could only survive in my own way. Yao Kersen had a mocking look on her face, laughing at He Hong for being too naive. But it's normal. Before she went to the countryside, she didn't expect to encounter such a thing, and she never thought that the simple rural people could be so vicious when they turned bad. I gave birth to 2 children for my ex-husband. After they were born, I ate malt. I never fed them milk and rarely hugged them. I didn't want to develop feelings for them. Yao Kersen usually seldom speaks in the dormitory, but she talked particularly a lot today. Maybe she had been holding it in for too long. She drank as she spoke, with tears streaming down her face. They have grandparents and a father, so they won't suffer. Wan Chichi advised. I know, so I'm not worried about them. When I climb to a higher place in the future, I can also help them get out of that remote place. Yao Kersen wiped the tears from her face, looking determined. She didn't have much feelings for Lao Zhong. What kind of love could there be for a man who could be her father? It was just a matter of each taking what they needed. Lao Zhong wanted her young body, and she wanted Lao Zhong's connections and resources. They both knew this very well. She had no plan to spend her whole life with Lao Zhong. She would divorce him once she had established herself in Tanzhou. Men were just stepping stones for her. She would not stay with any man until she climbed to the top. Do your parents know? Don't they help you? Li Yuqin's tone softened a lot, and she still felt a little guilty. Yao Kersen was also a poor person, and she shouldn't have been so upset before. My mother died when I was 10 years old. She was annoyed off by my father and stepmother. My mother was still lying in bed when these two hooked up. That sitch even showed off in front of my mother. My mother was in better health, but she was annoyed off to death by them. Less than a month after she died, my father couldn't wait to marry that sitch. The hatred in Yao Kersen's eyes was enough to kill someone. She has been relying on hatred to survive these years. She must climb to a higher place, avenge her mother, and make that couple pay for it. How are those 2 jerks doing now? Xia Tao slammed the table and asked angrily. They are living well, and they have a son. They are a happy family. I completely forgot about my dad's job. It was arranged by my grandpa. Yao Kersen sneered repeatedly. If her grandparents had not passed away early, her mother would not have been bullied to death. You ungrateful jerk, I'll help you kill him. Xia Tao was full of heroic spirit and was ready to eliminate the evil for the people. Thank you. There's no need to dirty your hands for such a zitch, and it's not worth it to kill someone and pay with their life. Yao Kersen smiled gratefully. She thought Xia Tao was just talking drunkenly. Killing someone is not like killing a chicken. It is not that simple. Keep going. You will definitely be able to climb to the highest point in the future, and the whole family of the zitch will crawl at your feet, begging for mercy. Wan Chichi is very optimistic about Yao Kersen. This woman is smart, resourceful, ruthless, generous, and beautiful. Such a person will be able to do well no matter what era she lives in. I will definitely make them kneel in front of my mother's grave and repent. I will also make their scandals public, leaving them penniless and forcing them to go back to the countryside to farm. Yao Kersen gritted her teeth and expressed her wish, saying that she would definitely do it.
Come on.
Everyone sent their blessings and understood Yao Kursen's choice. If they were in Yao Kursen's position, perhaps they would make the same choice? That night, everyone got drunk and lay in bed in a twisted manner, sleeping until dawn. After that, the relationship in the dormitory became more harmonious. The most obvious thing was that everyone was more enthusiastic towards Yao Kursen and not as indifferent as usual. May passed quickly, and June came. The weather was getting hotter, and Xia Tao was going to Hong Kong. Pei Yuan informed her temporarily that the cultural relic experts had added another member, a grandparent and grandchild, and asked her to wait on the train. Xia Tao got on the train first. Pei Yuan booked a sleeper ticket for her. The other two cultural relics experts were also in the same room. Passengers came up one after another. She observed them one by one and found no suspicious people, so she waited for the cultural relics experts with peace of mind. "Grandma, please be careful." Bai Fengshou helped Xia Taoji onto the train. He was originally on a business trip alone, but when he learned that he was restoring a very rare yuan blue and white porcelain, he felt a little unsure. When Xia Taoji learned about it, she offered to accompany him. He felt quite guilty. If he had learned more, his grandmother wouldn't have to travel so long. The leader told him that there would be a powerful kung fu master escorting them to Hong Kong along the way, and asked him to follow the master's arrangements on the way. Bai Fengshou was quite curious and didn't know whether the master was a man or a woman. He felt that it was more likely to be a man. After all, practicing martial arts was very hard, and it was even harder for women. His village also practices martial arts, but more men practice it and less women. He also practiced it when he was a child, so he could easily deal with 3 or 5 strong men. This is it. Bai Fengshou found a room and met Xia Tao, who was about to get some water. "Comrade Xia? Is it you?" The two spoke in unison, but their expressions were different. Bai Fengshou was surprised, but Xia Tao was gritting her teeth. Darn it! Why did she meet this guy again? "Miss Xia, are you going out too?" Xia Taoji looked between her grandson and Xia Tao with interest, smiling. "You guys live in this room?" When Xia Tao saw the train ticket in Bai Fengshou's hand, she knew what was going on and cursed her bad luck. If she had known that this cultural relic expert was Bai Fengshou, she would not have accepted this the worst task. "Yes, Comrade Xia, you're the expert who can protect us, right?" Bai Fengshou also came to his senses and was extremely shocked. Comrade Xia has thin arms and legs, and he doesn't look like a kung fu master at all. "It's me. You have to follow my instructions on the way." Xia Tao snorted complacently and said to Xia Taoji kindly, "Tell me if you need anything." "Miss Xia, you are really amazing. I really can't tell." Xia Taoji was generous in her praise, and her eyes were full of appreciation and even a little envious. If she had also practiced martial arts since childhood, perhaps she would have been able to resist the Japanese invaders and her family would not have been destroyed. "I've been practicing since I was a child. You can rest assured. It's safe in the car. I'll call you when it's time to eat." Xia Tao found this very useful, but her face remained cold and she didn't smile, especially when facing Bai Fengshou. She was colder than ice. After several days' journey to Yangcheng, Xia Tao and Xia Taoji became more familiar with each other, but they still didn't look happy towards Bai Fengshou. Bai Fengshou didn't know how he had offended her, and he didn't dare to talk to her actively. He was very cautious all the way. After resting for a day in Guangzhou, they took a boat in the middle of the night and arrived in Hong Kong smoothly. Xia Tao used a public phone to call someone here, and someone came to pick them up. "I'll take you to eat." The contact person would not arrive until noon, and Xia Tao missed Gon's mother's cooking a little, so she took the two of them to Gon's tea restaurant for dinner. It was the first time for both the grandparents and the grandchildren to visit Hong Kong. They were dazzled by the sight of the cars coming and going on the road, and the pedestrians in suits or cheongsam dresses. No wonder people say there's gold to be found here. This place is so prosperous. Xia Taoji was very emotional. Compared with this place, Tanzhou City seemed to be 20 years behind. Moreover, the women here were all dressed very beautifully, unlike the women in Tanzhou City who all wore gray clothes. This place is too small and many people live in pigeon coops. They don't live well. Xia Tao doesn't have much nostalgia for Hong Kong, except for Gon's mother's cooking skills. Comrade Xia, do you come here often? Bai Fengshou couldn't help but ask. It sounded very familiar to her. I've been here a few times. Watch out for the ball. There were a few boys playing football on the side of the road. They kicked the football too hard, and the football flew straight towards Bai Fengshou. Xia Tao reminded them. She walked on the left side of Bai Fengshou, and the ball came from the right. As long as Bai Fengshou dodged, she could catch the ball. Xia Tao was still very confident about catching the ball. With her skills, it was just a small football, so it was a piece of cake for her. But she misjudged Bai Fengshou's reaction. Bai Fengshou also saw the ball flying over. The boy who kicked the ball was very strong, and the speed of the ball was not slow. It flew in front of him in the blink of an eye. He stretched out his hand to block it without thinking to prevent the ball from hitting Xia Tao next to him. But he also overestimated his accuracy. The ball was blocked, but only slightly touched the edge. It did not slow down the speed of the ball, but instead changed the direction of the ball. In fact, Xia Tao had already prepared the gesture for catching the ball. As long as the ball flew over, she would definitely be able to catch it. But the direction of the ball changed, and before she could react, the ball passed over her hand and hit her face at lightning speed. Snap! Xia Tao was completely stunned. This was the first time in her life that she was hit in the face by a ball. Darn, his nose is broken. The ball fell to the ground and bounced a few times. Several boys ran over, apologized to them again and again. Be careful when playing ball. Bai Fengshou couldn't blame him. After all, the child didn't do it on purpose. But looking at Xia Tao's condition, it seemed that the collision was quite serious. Xiao Xia, how are you? Xia Taoji asked worriedly.
Fine.
Xia Tao took her hands away, and 2 streams of blood were clearly visible under her nose. She calmly wiped the blood with a handkerchief and waved her hands at the boys who were about to cry. Get lost. The boys ran away quickly, as if they had been pardoned. They didn't dare to play ball anymore, and went back to their homes. Do you want to go to the hospital to get some medicine? Bai Fengshou was a little worried. It seemed that the collision was quite serious. No, just stay away from me. Xia Tao gritted her teeth and motioned for him to stay away. Sure enough, nothing good happened when she met this man. They lived in peace for a few days, but blood was seen on the first day they arrived in Hong Kong. Bai Fengshou touched his nose and moved a few steps away embarrassedly. It was indeed his fault just now. If his aim had been better, he would not have hit Comrade Xia. After the nosebleed stopped, Xia Tao took them to Gon GT restaurant. But Mr. and Mrs. Gon seemed to be arguing, and it was quite fierce. You are already old. Why are you still jealous all the time? I gave that bowl of soup to the fishmonger. We have been neighbors for decades. What's wrong with drinking some soup? If you have any opinions, just say it directly. Don't grumble behind my back. I am tired of listening to you. Gon's mother held the soup spoon in her hand, cursed, and then shook it hard. Gon's father lowered his head beside her and dared not say a word. The diners were very calm, some even made a few jokes, and it was obvious that they were used to it. Xia Tao walked in front, Bai Fengshou followed behind, supporting Xia Taoji. As soon as they appeared at the door of the tea restaurant, Gon's mother saw them. Tao, you are here. Why haven't you come to eat for a long time? I missed you so much. Gon's mother was extremely excited and swung the soup spoon hard. Then, the soup spoon that she had used for decades flew out, and only a wooden handle was left in Gon's mother's hand. Shiny spoon flew very fast, and it whooshed in front of Xia Tao. Her body instinctively leaned to the side, but she quickly realized that her clients were behind her and nothing could happen. She turned in time to grab the spoon. But Bai Fengshou reacted quickly and raised the briefcase in his hand to block it. It must be said that Gon's mother was very strong, so the soup spoon did not fall and flew towards Xia Tao again. Then it hit Xia Tao's forehead magnificently, causing a passionate collision. Third update completed. Good night. Bang. A very loud sound. Xia Tao only felt a sharp pain in her forehead, then stars appeared in her eyes, her head was buzzing, and she felt dizzy. I'm sorry, Miss Xia. I didn't mean it. Are you okay? Bai Fengshou's face turned pale with fright. He apologized repeatedly and did not forget to change his words. Getting off the boat, Xia Tao said that once we arrived in Hong Kong, we could not call people gay. Men should be called Mr. and women should be called Mississippi. Xia Tao pressed her forehead hard, holding the wall with her other hand. It took a long time for her to recover. Seeing the anxious Bai Fengshou in front of her, she gritted her teeth and said, "Duck." The losses she suffered when she was with Bai Fengshou were more than she had ever suffered in her entire life. This man is really her bad luck. Tao, are you okay? Gon's mother saw that she had recovered. Did she dare to ask, her face full of concern. Xia Taoji also looked at her with concern and reached out to touch her forehead. Wow, it was like a big egg. A horn suddenly grew on the girl's pretty forehead, and there was a noticeable bruise on her nose. It was all her grandson's fault. Hiss. Xia Tao gasped. It hurts so much. I'll rub the blood clots out for you. Otherwise this swelling won't go away. Xia Taoji rubbed the bump on her head hard. Even though Xia Tao was able to endure the pain, she still gasped. Gon's mother went to get some activating oil and asked Xia Taoji to move aside. She pressed Xia Tao down on the stool, put her legs in a horse stance, rolled up her sleeves, and got into position. Be gentle. Xia Tao was a little panicked. This scene was more like that of a pig being slaughtered. I know, just close your eyes. Gon's mother poured some activating oil on the palm of her hand, spread it evenly, and then gave Xia Tao a massage on the head. Father Gon, who was standing next to him, covered his eyes, unable to bear to watch. Really? Xia Tao was caught off guard and screamed loudly, the sound lingering in the room for 3 days. Bear with it, a short pain is better than a long one. Gon's mother changed her standing posture and increased her strength. Under her huge palm, Xia Tao's little head was rolled and flattened like dough. Xia Tao gritted her teeth, gripped the armrests of the chair tightly, and didn't scream again, but her eyes were filled with tears. All right. A few minutes later, Gon's mother clapped her hands, looked at the much smaller bump on her forehead with satisfaction, and said, "Let's do it again tomorrow." It's almost done. Xia Tao, who was wiping her tears with a handkerchief, felt her scalp tighten when she heard this. She would definitely not come tomorrow. Tao, remember to come tomorrow. I'll stew pork trotters and soybeans for you. Gon's mother was particularly enthusiastic. Xia Tao had disappeared for several months. When she asked her son where she had gone, he didn't know. She thought that the girl would not come again. She sighed many times with her old man behind his back. She was so worried that her good daughter-in-law had flown away. Fortunately, the matchmaker opened his eyes, and his son's red thread was still there. Gon's mother secretly made up her mind that she would make more delicious food to help her son win Xia Tao. Pig's feet and soybeans? Xia Tao's eyes lit up. She liked to eat it. Yes, there are also lobster and abalone and barbecued pork with honey sauce. Gon's mother ordered a few more dishes, which she usually couldn't afford to buy, but for the sake of her son's lifelong event, she was willing to spend a lot of money. Every time she asked for something, Xia Tao would swallow her saliva, her mouth drooling, and she agreed without hesitation. Okay, I'll definitely come tomorrow. These are all her favorite foods, and she will eat them even if it hurts her to death. You can come every day. Isn't Mrs. Wan with you? Gon's mother grinned. She wished Xia Tao would come to eat every day. Feelings are cultivated, and love can only develop over time. She has some unfinished business at home. Come back later.
I'm hungry.
Is there anything to eat? Xia Tao touched her stomach. She hadn't eaten anything since last night, and was starving. Yes, you sit down, I'll get some food. Gon's mother glanced at Bai Fengshou and his grandchildren and could tell at a glance that they came from the inland. She didn't ask anything and greeted them like ordinary guests. After a while, Gon's mother brought out a lot of food and filled the table. Fill your stomach first, I'll go buy some groceries later, and we'll have lunch at home. I won't have lunch. I have things to do. Xia Tao took a pineapple bun and ate it in big bites, then took a bite of a curry fish ball and took a big sip of milk tea. She was so happy that even the bump on her head didn't hurt so much. Seeing that Bai Fengshou and his grandchildren were too embarrassed to eat, She took 2 pork chop buns and stuffed one into each of their hands. Eat quickly, we still have work to do. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Bai Fengshou felt very guilty as he repeatedly hurt other girls. Although it was not his intention, it was his fault after all. Xia Tao gave him a cold look. What the heck, he was bringing up this irrelevant topic. The delicious food had made her forget about the bad luck, and now he brought it up again. The bump on her forehead started to hurt again. Have a meal. Xia Tao gritted her teeth and shouted, and Bai Fengshou was frightened and quickly lowered his head to chew the pork chop bun. After taking a bite, his eyes lit up. It was so delicious. It was the first time he had eaten such a delicious steamed bun. Tao, how long are you going to stay this time? Father Gon sat over and asked with concern. About a month, but I'll have to come back to recruit students during the summer vacation. Xia Tao cares a lot about her identity as the Dean of Studies, and she has to personally oversee the admissions. Fa Zai has sent people to look for top students. He visits each student personally and works until midnight every day. He has lost a lot of weight. Father Gon proudly praised his son. His son's gang involvement was a thorn in his heart, but now that his son has started a school, he absolutely supports it. What about the others? Xia Tao wanted to ask about the enrollment situation, but Gon Defa was not in the store. I've been busy. Things are not peaceful recently. There are things going on every day. You should be careful when you go out. Father Gon sighed. Although his son's gang was growing stronger, it had become a thorn in the eyes of other gangs. Every day, people came to provoke him. His son had to do something. School and dealing with gangs kept me so busy that I didn't even have enough time to sleep. He and the old woman couldn't help either, so they could only cook a pot of nourishing soup every day so that their son could drink a bowl of hot soup when he came home in the middle of the night and sleep better at night.
New.
Xia Tao didn't care. They spoke Cantonese, which Bai Fengshou and his grandchildren could not understand, so they could only lower their heads and eat. After finishing the food on the table, Xia Tao was about to leave when she suddenly heard the sound of fighting outside the door. Father Gon picked up a kitchen knife and Mother Gon picked up a spatula, and the couple went out angrily. Duck your mother. You really think I'm too old to fight anymore? Today I'll let you see how powerful the fishball girl from Lotus Street is. Gon's mother walked in front, cursing, and Gon's father followed closely behind. 2 groups of people were fighting in front of the store. One group was sent by Gon Defa, who stayed near the store every day to protect his parents' safety. The other group came looking for trouble. They obviously had more people and were well equipped, so soon people on both sides were injured. I'll do it. Xia Tao was very fast and rushed in front of Gon's father and mother like a meteor. She was so angry that she had no place to vent it, and these thugs came at the right time. Bai Fengshou could figure out the situation. He saw Xia Tao rushing into the battlefield. He rushed over without thinking, and when he passed by Gon's father, he took the kitchen knife from his hand. But after thinking about it, he returned the kitchen knife to Gon's father and instead took the spatula from Gon's mother's hand. This one had less lethality, and he didn't want to kill anyone and cause trouble for the public. Fengshou, Xiaoxia, be careful. Xia Taoji reminded loudly beside him, with a worried look on her face. These people looked ferocious, and they were all carrying steel pipes and knives. They were willing to fight to the death. They were indeed young people who grew up eating the poisonous weeds of capitalism. All they did was fight and kill all day long, and they didn't know how to do serious work. Xia Tao was full of anger, and her killing power was astonishingly high. Bai Fengshou was holding a spatula and had no place to use it. He saw those ferocious thugs had no power to resist Xia Tao. After a few moves, their limbs were broken, and they lost their fighting power. Bai Fengshou stood there stupidly, unable to stop watching. He had not expected that Xia Tao, with her thin arms and legs, could be so skilled. No wonder the higher-ups sent her to escort him and his grandmother. He himself didn't realize that the way he looked at Xia Tao had changed, from surprise to admiration, and there was also some other emotion. He has always disliked women who are too delicate. Many men don't like their wives to be stronger than themselves, but he is just the opposite. He likes a strong wife, and if she is stronger than him, he would be more than happy. Xia Taoji was also extremely envious. If she had such good skills when she was young, she would definitely have been able to kill all the Japanese devils and save her relatives that night. Xia Tao was so excited in the fight that she flew into the air and kicked the last standing henchman about 10 meters away. He fainted before he landed on the ground. Xia Tao landed safely on the ground, with her hands behind her back, looking with satisfaction at the thugs lying in front of her, and her anger also subsided. Yoshi, Xia Tao blurted out in a good mood. This was a habit she developed from slaughtering those old men. Every time she slaughtered a person, she would say, Yoshi, with satisfaction. Because nothing else could stimulate those old men more than saying Yoshi. She used the skills taught by these old men to kill them and announce the end of their lives in their native language. The angry and regretful eyes of those old men before they died made her feel so good. Over time, she developed the habit of doing nothing after a fight. After hearing this, Gon's father and mother didn't react much. There are many companies from the Sakura country in Hong Kong, and some young people even go out of their way to learn the language of the Sakura country, so it's not surprising that Xia Tao can speak it. Xia Taoji's face turned pale instantly. She suddenly thought of that night, and her whole body trembled uncontrollably. Grandma, it's okay, don't be afraid. Bai Fengshou comforted him softly and patted her back gently. I'm fine, don't worry. Xia Taoji quickly recovered. She looked at Xia Tao suspiciously, feeling that something was not right. A Tao is so awesome. Gon's father and mother clapped their hands vigorously and praised loudly, their faces full of pride, just as they did when they talked about their son. They are so lame. Xia Tao looked at the henchman lying on the ground with disdain, but she was very pleased with the praise from Gon's father and mother and couldn't help but reveal a smile on her face. They are not inferior. It's you, Tao, who are awesome. You can easily defeat 10 people on one. If you were in ancient times, Mu Guiying would definitely be the commander and Liang Hongyu would beat the drum. Father Gon was generous in his praise and even compared Xia Tao to Mu Guiying and Liang Hongyu in ancient times. What does Liang Hongyu do? Xia Tao knew Mu Guiying from the female generals of the Yang clan, but she had never heard of Liang Hongyu. Liang Hongyu was a female general in ancient times. She used to be an easy-souled woman and later became a female general. She was a remarkable woman. Gon's father was not well educated, but he liked to listen to books and knew something about history. Can an easy-souled woman become a general? Xia Tao became interested. She remembered that women in ancient times attached great importance to chastity. This was not only true in China but also in Sakura country. Especially for the ladies and daughters of noble families, chastity was extremely important. The leap from Liang Hongyu's career as an easy-souled woman to a general is too big. I think so. That's what the storyteller says, anyway. Gon's father was stumped and gave a vague answer. The storyteller did not explain in detail how Liang Hongyu went from being an easy-souled woman to becoming a general. He would ask the storyteller later. Liang Hongyu was born into a prominent family. She was demoted to a military easy-souled woman because of a family change. Later, she met General Han Shizhong. They appreciated each other and became husband and wife. They fought back the enemy many times and made great contributions. Later, she was named Lady Anghua by the court. She died on the battlefield fighting the enemy and sacrificed her life for the country. Bai Fengshou explained in great detail that cultural relics involve a lot of history, so he has done private research on it. She died on horseback, a worthy death. I like this Liang Hongyu. Xia Tao had a great liking for Liang Hongyu when she first heard about her. She was a real great woman. This Han Shizhong is not bad. He doesn't dislike Liang Hongyu. Xia Tao also had a very good impression of Han Shizhong, who was a rare good man. Because Liang Hongyu is so outstanding that the flaws she has are nothing. Bai Fengshou said with a smile. Xia Tao glanced at him with a look of surprise. This was the second time she had heard something like this. The first time was Gon Defa, and this time it was Bai Fengshou. They didn't attach so much importance to women's chastity, which is quite rare. She had seen too many men who only allowed the officials to set fires, but not the common people to light lamps. They could spend their money in debauchery, but their wives had to remain chaste, otherwise they would be considered easy women. Tao, have you learned the language of Sakura country? Gon's father asked curiously. My biological parents are from Sakura country. Xia Tao did not hide it. Now her mentality is much calmer than before, and she is not as extreme as before. So, you are also from Sakura country? Wow. You speak Chinese very well. You can't tell at all. So impressive. Father Gon gave her a thumbs up and praised her highly. He did not look strange because of her identity and acted the same as usual. Xia Tao secretly breathed a sigh of relief. If Mr. and Mrs. Gon cared about her identity, she would not come to eat anymore. She couldn't help but look at Xia Taoji and found that the old lady had a strange expression on her face. After meeting her gaze, she was a little evasive. She knew that she had to stay away from this kind old lady in the future. She liked Xia Taoji. The old lady always reminded her of her kind adoptive mother. But since the old lady cared about her identity, she should not bring trouble to others. Xia Tao said goodbye to Gon's father and mother and took Bai Fengshou and his grandson away. Was going to pick them up had arrived. After exchanging secret codes with each other and confirming their identities, they sent them to their residence. It is a quiet mansion. The owner hired them to restore the yuan blue and white porcelain. His specific identity is unclear, but he must have a good relationship with the higher-ups. Call me if you need anything, and I'll send it to you. Can you make sure this yuan blue